All right, guys, welcome to the Crawford County, Illinois Ghost Hunter Society live talk show. I'm your host tonight, Jason Snyder. I'm the founder and team leader of the Crawford County, Illinois Ghost Hunter Society. If you do not know who I am, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight on our special edition show tonight that we're doing. This is our live talk show, episode number 27, and this is our New Year's special. So we got one heck of a night in store for you guys tonight. I've even got cue cards here because I've got so much to talk about that I don't even know where to start. So I had to number everything, guys. But definitely hang in there. Again, this is the Crawford County, Illinois Ghost Hunter Society New Year's special. We're going to recap everything that pretty much happened. Well, all the cool stuff that happened to us in 2020. So hopefully 2021 is going to be an awesome year like we had last year, guys. Real fast, going to go through the little intro here. You can check out our website at crawfordcountyghosthunters.org and visit our website if you want to. If you never check that out, definitely check into that. And we're going to work on making our social media and stuff a lot better this year. That's one thing we are lacking in is our social media and getting stuff posted. We're way behind. We do way more investigations and stuff than we actually even post on our pages. So you guys are going to see some of that or hear about some of that tonight, hopefully. You can email us at illinoishauntings@gmail.com. Check that out. If you want to send us an email regarding any location you want investigated, we'll investigate houses, cemeteries, businesses, anything that you think might have the presence of paranormal activity, we'll investigate it. And we do those free of charge, guys. If you have a house that's haunted or you have a business that's haunted, send us an email or a message on our Facebook page. We do not charge for any of that. So if you got a place you want us to investigate, definitely send us a message and we will come check that out. But you can also visit our Facebook page if you're not watching on Facebook right now at facebook.com/Crawford County Ghost Hunters. So you can check that one out. We are dual streaming to YouTube. It is YouTube.com/Crawford County Ghost Hunters or at Crawford County Ghost Hunters. Unfortunately, we are not monitoring messages off of the YouTube channel. We will only monitor live messages off of our Facebook page. So switch over to Facebook page if you want any of your questions answered during our live talk show tonight. We've also got, I see they just joined in with me here down at the bottom. We've got two co-hosts going to be here with me tonight talking. I'm going to bring them in here later and get them on the show as well. We've got Ed Reese hanging down there, and it looks like Amanda Ralton, I think. I'm looking down here in my Q box. I'm not even sure if they can hear me, but I sent them the link. So we will have a couple co-hosts on here with me tonight to talk about all of our investigations of 2020 that we've conducted. And we have got a lot to talk about, guys. So hang in there, and we're going to get to some of the stuff right off the bat. I'm going to first tell you guys, I apologize on our last live feed we did, our Christmas special, which we're going to get to that toward the end of the talk show. I was sick, so I wasn't able to attend that event. So I apologize, to anyone who went there. My team members handled that event really well. Jason Dickerson, Ed Reese, Amanda Ralton, they all did an extremely good job handling that public event, one of our last public events of the year. So thank you guys for going to that if you went to it or watching our live feed during that. But just to kind of recap 2020 and what we done in 2020, it is wow. I went back looking through our stuff, and I don't even know where to start, so I tried to just start at the beginning from, investigation number one, where we went, what we done. But I can find my card here. I can say I apologize. I've got cue cards. We've got so much stuff that we're going to talk about tonight. So we're going to try to hit all the stuff. Yeah, and documented investigations right now, we're at 7,896. Now, that's not this year. That's in the 25 years that I've been doing this. That's my documented, like where we're at right now. We actually did 296 investigations this year altogether that we documented, and some that we obviously did not go live on because we can't go live on all of our investigations. But we've probably done over 2,000 or over 10,000, I estimated, in 25 years. And that is, as the high end of the number. But 7,896 have actually been documented investigations that we've conducted over the past 25 years, doing paranormal investigations and research into different locations. So, but we rolled out 296 this year, which is a little lower than last year. But due to COVID, we weren't able to do a lot of our house investigations we had scheduled and all that. And keep in mind, some of these investigations, we'll do 3 to 5 investigations a night. When we're investigating cemeteries and we're out investigating old bridges or different counties, we'll go and we'll basically do road trips and investigate, 5, 6, locations a night. So that's how we rack up these high numbers, guys, a lot of times in some of these investigations. But I've got 52 really awesome investigations that I want to talk about that we did this year in 2020 that, the ones that stand out to me the most, and I'm sure I'm going to miss a lot of them. So if you guys remember something that we don't, send us a message, shoot us a message, because I am monitoring comments right now. I can see all you guys' comments. So thanks everybody for tuning in. But before I get Ed and Amanda in here, I'll just throw them in there and then we'll start talking. So that way I got somebody else to talk with here. Let me add them in there. Hey guys, can you hear me all right?
Yep, sure can.
All right, guys. This is Ed Reese and Amanda Ralton, 2 of my team members. Ed's been a longtime team member of mine. He has been doing this with me for years. And Amanda just kind of jumped on this year. And we're going to get into where she starts at this year with our whole show tonight. Because, we're going to go from the beginning to clear to the end. And we're going to talk about when Amanda jumped in our team and all that. So it's going to be an awesome night, guys. And we're going to try to pack this in 2 hours, but I cannot promise anything on that. We may go to 5 hours on this because, I've got cards of notes here. So I thought I was joking, didn't you? But no, we're going to start out at investigation number 1. Now, the very first investigation we done of the year was on January 18th, 2020. So we're going to talk about that one. And that was Mcpike Mansion. If you guys remember that, the first investigation at Mcpike Mansion. And I don't even think Amanda was on the team yet at that time, were you?
Not then.
Not then?
Nope.
Yeah. Your video is awesome, by the way. I'm always jealous over my guest video, guys, because you got to consider I'm trying to work on this because I'm trying to get a big booster put on a pole out here, but I'm in the middle of nowhere in the country. So I have to use hotspots and all kinds of stuff to get internet access, even to do this show. So that's why my video Quality is really bad. Hopefully my audio is good, but sometimes my video quality comes and goes. So I apologize to you viewers out there. Definitely listen though, because we've got a lot to talk about. But my guests or my co-hosts always have better, because I think, what are you running off of? The new iPhone, Ed?
Off the iPro Max.
Yeah, the video looks extremely awesome on your side, so that looks good. But that's what we've been filming off of. Another one, the same model, I believe, when we've been doing our live feeds, guys. So I hope the quality is, has improved on our live feed lately, if you've noticed that. So, but anyway, number one, Mcpike Mansion. We were there on January 18th of 2020. That was our first investigation, Mcpike Mansion, this year. We done two, which we will get to later. First investigation went off without a hitch. It was just cold as heck, though. I mean, freezing that night when we got there. It's me and Dickerson and James Pinkston, Courtney, and gosh, I'm sorry if I'm forgetting people, but that was like our first investigation this year. But we pull up there, we talked to Sharon. It was freezing that night. I don't even know what the temperature was. I think it was like 13 degrees maybe in that cellar we were at when we were investigating. But we had the command center set up outside, and, we investigated Mcpike Mansion, which is located in Alton, Illinois. Had a really good investigation. Nothing major happened until me and Jason Dickerson were inside the living, I call it the entryway going up to the stairs on the first floor. He was filming, and we had a ghost box set up running. He was filming with IR, and we had a GoPro running at the same time. And all of a sudden, the front door, just swings open. And I'm trying to get Dickerson's attention because there's no wind, and then it shuts, and he turns and catches it on the video camera as it's shutting. At the same time, we captured, which we didn't know at the time, we captured a ball of light going down the hallway. And at the same time in our ghost box, a voice that said, "I got killed," at the same time, which was pretty cool. I mean, that was three pieces of evidence suggesting something actual paranormal took place, when that was going on. So that was a pretty neat investigation, really. We didn't know we'd captured, the ball of light until I went down and slowed down the video. And I'm not a big fan of orbs and balls of light, but it's strange. It happens at the same time the door closes, and we captured a voice, which I call ITC, or instrumental transcommunication, an intelligent voice coming across a ghost box communication device. So, that was like investigation number one of the year. Pretty good evidence we caught. We posted the video up on YouTube, talked with Sharon, posted on the Mcpike Mansion page, and had a real good investigation of Mcpike Mansion that time. Which we scheduled it. We talked with Sharon, and she asked us if we could come help with an event around Halloween called the Ghostly Campout, which we're going to get to when I get to October. But that's where this is leading into. But, she had asked us during this investigation if we could come to the next event, which was in October, which was the Ghostly Campout, which we all know what happened there, but we'll get into it when we when we talk about it. And you were at that one, weren't you, Ed?
I was at that one.
Thought you were. Okay. We'll get into that, though. That's like number, I don't know what on my list. But that was Mcpike Mansion, first investigation year. Number two, and I'm going to try to hit through these pretty quick and talk about, because all these investigations, like I said, I've got 52 that stood out in my mind that we're going to talk about out of the 296 I think I wrote down that we did. Second one we done, I don't think you guys were involved in either, because Ed came back. Didn't you come back like midway through this year?
Yeah, it was midway this year.
Yeah, because Ed used to be on my team, a few years back, and he had kids and life happened, and he kind of, what's that?
Hold on everything.
Yeah.
Everything else.
Yeah, he put a kind of a hold on stuff, for a while, because he had kids, and they've gotten a little older now, and they're kind of into it. And Ed came back, so I'm really glad to have Ed and Wendy, his wife, back, on the team. And we'll get into it when Amanda jumps in here after a while. But anyway, our second one I want to talk about, though. Now, this was, guys, I don't know if you remember this happening, but we had an investigation down in Albion, Illinois. down in the south part of Illinois there. We traveled down there. We got called into a house where this lady was experiencing her animals being messed with. Just weird things going on down at her house down here in Albion, Illinois. And the house had a long history of weird, strange, I guess you could call people staying there in the past. One of the things they told us was one of the people that used to live there would run around naked in their yard and perform rituals, kind of like Ed does on a full moon. But you don't want to be around Ed on a full moon, do you, Ed?
No, not really.
but really, that's what they told us. There was rituals performed in this backyard. They were having strange things happen with their chickens, their animals, their rabbits had gotten out of the cage somehow, was up on top of the cage one night. Just a lot of strange things. So we went down and investigated. It was me, Ben Irvin, Jason Dickerson. We did some investigating, found out that the land had ties to the local church, which was a half-mile away. And it was, again, this is in Albion. We're not going to give the name of the church due to the circumstances still. But there was a cell phone tower, a big cell tower right next to the house between the church and the house we investigated. And we believe that it's causing strange phenomena, maybe strange even EMF-induced hallucinations with the neighbors in the area because they were all acting really weird. I mean, you talk about going into a different world. I mean, we thought we didn't know what was going on. I mean, it was like, I hate to say this, but it was like we stumbled upon a cult and they did not want us there. Like, because this church that was associated with this house nearby, these people, they pulled up while we were investigating the cemetery outside the church, wanting to know why we were over at this neighbor's house investigating. To put it nicely, or I guess bluntly, these were the nosiest people I've ever seen in my life. I mean, they were wanting to know why we were at this person's house investigating, why we were in the neighborhood, all this stuff, And we ended up, in looking the church over, investigating the cemetery, which we thought was a public cemetery because it's open to the public and it's along a main road there that anybody can access. But according to the neighborhood, nobody can step foot in their cemetery that isn't part of their neighborhood. So we ended up taking that video down out of respect for that location because like all the church members got mad that we were connecting members of the church, which were associated with the house that we were investigating because we'd actually, in our short time being there, we connected all that together and found the people who used to live there buried in the cemetery next to the church. And we thought maybe some of the activity was coming from, them. So we checked their grave sites out. It's the only reason we went over to the cemetery and church area. But long story short, I think the cell phone tower was affecting activity there. Just like I've said, in a lot of places, you get a cell tower, a radio tower next to locations, you get weird paranormal activity. And that is a big, constant thread of, truth, I think, in all these places that have cell phone towers by them. But we didn't find anything major at that location. Told her, she probably, just to monitor it. And if anything major happened, to call us back again. But she caught so much heck from the neighborhood that, she told us, she probably didn't want to follow up investigation because her neighborhood's crazy. And we didn't go back in there. So that was investigation number 2 of 2020. And then number 3 investigation we done. This was a really cool investigation, I thought. I don't know if you guys watched it, Ed and Amanda, but it was at the Indian Orchard Cemetery in Terre, Haute, Indiana. Have you guys ever been there?
No, I have not.
I don't think I have either.
Yeah, it's almost like right in town, Terre Haute, Indiana. We went in there to investigate. They were having weird problems in the apartment buildings, which are pretty much built on top of an old burial ground. And there's like all kinds of newspaper reports and stuff where they dug up bones and body parts and stuff, when they were trying to dig into the ground to put this new, put the apartment buildings there. They hit bones and stuff when they cut a little drainage ditch out through the back. And it's real close to the Wabash River, too. But that's a really cool place, right there in Terre Haute. A lot of people don't know about it. It's called the Old Indian Orchard Cemetery. Now, we picked up a lot of EVP activity where the cemetery was supposedly located at. and, got a lot of stuff there. We even interviewed a lot of people that were having problems in the apartments because of the cemetery that it's built over the top of. And they found body parts. I mean, underneath, where this building is, where people are living now. And you guys can go look that up, about the Indian Orchard Cemetery. And I've got a lot of that information on our Facebook page too, under our photo album. I've got a lot more history than what I've given now. Got all the dates and stuff. I can't remember everything off top of my head, for the show. But if you guys want to research that further, check out Indian Orchard Cemetery in Terre, Haute, Indiana on our Facebook page under the photo albums. And we get a lot more history regarding that event. But we did find a little activity there, some strange EVP activity, but nothing extremely, extremely active. But moving on to number 3 on our list for our 2020 investigations. And keep in mind, guys, these are ones that I picked out, the really good ones that stand out in my mind that something happened or were just neat because of the location. We've done a lot more investigations that we couldn't even go live on, that we can't even talk about. We do a lot of investigations during the course of the years that, the people do not want us to reveal where we're at. It's a private residence. They want us to keep it confidential. They don't even want people to know we were there. So that's what happens with a lot of this stuff. But we're going to go on to, that was number 3, wasn't it? Number 4, the Limp Mansion. Me and Courtney actually went and checked out the Limp Mansion. That was on February 9th of 2020. We went and checked it out, did a small-scale EVP investigation in the upstairs of the Limp Mansion over in St. Louis, Missouri. And we didn't really pick up a whole lot at all. We didn't find anything at the Limp Mansion, but I did kind of want to mention it because we were scheduled to come back for a full-scale investigation at the Limp Mansion. And I talked to, I believe her name was Betsy in there, that runs the haunted tours. And she's still supposed to be getting us in there, but due to COVID, we got rescheduled on that. We still haven't been able to get back in there to do a full scale. So, whether we do a full scale investigation at the Limp Mansion in St. Louis, Missouri here in the upcoming future, who knows? It's going to be up to this COVID stuff and all the rules and laws and regulations. So we'll see if we're able to do that in 2021. But I'm telling you what, guys, I don't think 2020 was an awesome year for us. Everybody was out scared of the COVID stuff and all that, but we really hammered it for the ghost hunt. I mean, we really got at it, and we brought you guys some crazy investigations during 2020. And some of my most memorable ones in my 25 years of doing this, it was we really done some cool investigations this year. And that's why I'm trying to do the ones that stand out the most to me. We really got a lot of good stuff in this year. Probably one of the best years I can recall, if not the best year. And definitely we found the most haunted place I've ever found this year. So and we all know what that is, and we'll get to that later. But Limp Mansion, we may or may not get back to that and investigate full scale, guys. We'll see here in the near future. They're saying they can't hear you and Amanda very well out on the live feed, guys. Jake said they can't hear you guys. I don't know, maybe if you need to move closer to the camera mic or something, or speak up. I'm not real sure what's going on with that. Jake says he can't hear you.
How about now?
Excuse me. I can hear you fine. I don't know about you guys out on the live feed. Can you guys hear Ed and Amanda now out there? Give me a thumbs up if you can.
Hello?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Can you hear us?
It's kind of delayed. I'll see here in a minute. But anyway, yeah, Tammy Joe's saying we appreciate you keeping us entertained. And that's what I try to do too. Not that we're entertainment, but I know you guys, some of you guys were sitting at home during the COVID, during the quarantine, couldn't go anywhere. And, we thought, I put it in my mind, I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm still going to be safe, not going to be around a bunch of people. But me and Courtney actually went out on our own because we're always together. So it's not going to bother anything. We actually went out and did a bunch of quarantine videos, which we're going to get to after a while too. So it's we tried to, do as much as we could to keep you guys entertained during the times when you couldn't get out of your house. So, but the Elks Lodge was number 5 on my list. The Elks Lodge in Lawrenceville, Illinois. I wish you could have got in on that, Ed, but since it's right there in Lawrenceville, I still can't. I'm not hearing you either, Ed.
Yeah. How about now?
I hear you now. It seems like sometimes when you talk, I hear you. Sometimes I don't.
Okay.
So I got you now.
Are we
Okey
louder?
dokey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds better. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Anyway, the Elks Lodge, that's a whole story in itself, too. Like I say, each one of these places have a story, guys. But we went in, we got called into the Elks Lodge. They were seeing what they believed to be a lady in white. And it was associated with possibly a past wedding that took place years ago. And somebody was killed and not there, though, I don't think. I believe it was in a car crash or something. And I can't confirm a lot of the stories that they were telling me about the Elks Lodge, but in Lawrenceville, Illinois is where we're talking about right now. But we went in and we investigated it. They've been experiencing strange things. Of course, it's an old building. There's old, I'm not sure what the Elks Masters are called. Do you, Ed? Are they Wise Masters or?
I think they are, but I could be mistaken.
Yeah. I mean, me and Ed are Freemasons. We're not members of the Elks, or at least I'm not. But anyway, the old wise, I think it was past commanders or old wise masters, whatever you want to call them. The head of the Elks Lodge. They were seeing a couple of the old ones that had passed away in there too. So that was some of the reports the Elks Lodge in Lawrenceville had. Crazy thing about the Elks Lodge, when we get there, I'm not sure if she was the owner or the individual that let us in that was just managing it and running it that night. But we get there and she is just flat out drunk. I mean, she invites us into the paranormal investigation and she can't even hardly talk to me when I get there. So I was not very impressed with the Elks Lodge in Lawrenceville, Illinois. And I pretty much tell it how it is. I don't sugarcoat things. And if I go in to investigate your place and you're drunk when you get there, I'm not coming back. And unless you get some other management in there. And the employees that were supposed to help us were drunk. So that was a bad night as far as trying to keep the drunks under control and do a serious investigation. What we should have done is just packed our stuff up and left, but then I'd never got to come back because I'm bad mouthing them like I am now. But so I knew then that it was probably our one shot at investigating this location because I wasn't coming back after the drunkenness that we had encountered at the Lawrenceville Elks Lodge. But all in all, it was a cool place, cool building, and I'm sure has the potential of being active and haunted. I just wish we could have dealt with somebody that was professional when we got there, and we didn't. So maybe there'll be a next time in the future when they get new management or something. But that was the Elks Lodge in Lawrenceville, Illinois. If you guys watched that one, I'm not sure we went live on that. I don't know if we did or not. I have to go back, but I know we took a lot of pictures because they didn't want us going live at first, and then they said we could, but I can't remember if we went live on that or not. But anyway, number 6, we're going to talk about Turbine Cemetery. That took place on February the 23rd, 2020. And that's a cemetery over in Indiana. That's Sullivan County, Indiana. It's over in the Merriam-Graysville area, and it's called Turbine Cemetery. We did a short investigation there. We did some EVP investigations there, some ITC investigations where we tried to get any type of response on, any type of ghost box or recording devices. And we picked up a couple EVPs. I just thought I'd mention it just because I want to throw some Indiana investigations we've done in there too. We also investigated on February 23rd, the Man-Terman Prairie Cemetery, which has a really cool story. And if you guys went on our haunted Merriam tour, that is the big cemetery. It's a big hill. I mean, you get out of breath just looking at this thing, trying to climb up it. I know some of our people that went on our Merriam haunted tours this year, I think they were ready to go home by the end of the night because it was a lot of walking. It was a lot of climbing. And what happened is one of General Harrison's, it was Harrison's army. They were coming through there, in the Battle of Tippecanoe. And one of the soldiers died up on top of this hill. They were in a fight over something. And they ended up burying the dead soldier at the top of this hill. And that's pretty much what started, or one of the first burials of Man-Terman Prairie Cemetery over there in Sullivan County, Indiana. a lot of people see a lot of strange stuff on the hill. There's a big giant rock up there on the top of the hill where the first burial took place. Tells about the Turbine pioneers and everything that happened in that area. Just a really cool place we talk about on our tours we do of that area. But that was our number 7 investigation of the year. And then number 8, we went to Spooklight Hill. And we did several investigations of Spooklight Hill over the course of 2020. That was on March 5th of 2020. And me and Dickerson, we brought a drone out there. Spooklight Hill is located over by Brazil, Indiana, if you guys aren't familiar with it. And there's been reports of strange lights in the area for years. People will see balls of light. They'll see ghost lights. What looks like a guy carrying a lantern across the road. Just all types of light phenomena, like paranormal light anomalies and phenomena. And it's been unexplained for several years. Now, we debunked a lot of the stuff at Spooklight Hill, and due to cars passing, because there's several hills on that road, and then a main highway on down the road to the, I believe it's to the east when you're sitting there. And we actually took a drone, and we took the drone and flew it up in the air to try to locate any cars or any unusual lights or anything that might take place during the course of our investigation. So we had a drone flying, to try to debunk or prove, that these lights are real. And mostly what we proved was we were finding car lights off in the distance that people were seeing and probably reporting as the ghost lights. But I'm going to tell you guys this. I have not been to Spooklight Hill one time that I have not seen some sort of light that I question. So, Spooklight Hill, I'm about 50-50 on whether it's real or not. I know, I'd say 90% of the reports are car lights, but then that other percentage, I don't know, because I've probably investigated that place 10 times altogether. And every time I've been out there, I have seen strange lights that, that I don't think are car lights. They're just like a flickering candle looking light that go across the road, or a bright light that lights up. You've got to be parked just right to see it, and in the right place to see it. But I'm kind of, like I say, I'm on the fence regarding Spooklight Hill in Brazil, Indiana, on whether it's real or, just a lot of car lights being reported. And I think it's maybe a little bit of both. And you can have that in places, a place that gets a reputation of being haunted over the years, then everything all of a sudden becomes a ghost. You might have 2 or 3 actual events over the year, that might be real, but then you have 50 drunken people there that see car lights that add to the whole, hype of a location. So that's what you have with a lot of these urban legends and places like Spooklight Hill. Also Hell's Gate, we investigated a lot this year in 2020, which is nearby. And Hell's Gate's basically a railroad with a tunnel underneath of it. The train goes across the top, and supposedly a train derailed there and killed people. We can't find confirmation of actual events that took place there, but there's a lot of activity, a lot of cult-like activity in that area too, of people being chased off by people, doing satanic rituals, all kinds of stuff in that area. We investigated that several times during 2020. Didn't find a lot, at Hell's Gate. But I'm going to move on to the next one, I believe, here, if I can find it. Oh, number 9 on our cards here. And Ed and Amanda, if you guys can't stay the full 2 hours, just let me know. Are you guys in it for the long haul, or you want to jump out at some point?
Whatever.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, if you guys get bored or tired, I know I'm doing a lot of talking because you guys can't see my cue cards. But when I get into when you guys finally get back onto the team, you'll be able to jump in there and fill in a little more. But just let me know, interrupt me if you need out or something. But I'm going to try to keep these guys on there as long as I can, because I want to get into where they join the team again, guys. But talking about number 9 now, which was the hanging of Elizabeth Reid, a ghost story. Now, we met up with a guy named Joe Terre, and he was the producer for that. Red Room Media. Actually, I'll grab a DVD if I can find one here. I'm not sure where I put that. Nope, not right there. Hold on a second, guys. I'll find a DVD. Maybe I won't. Sorry for the butt shot there. All right, talking about this. If I can get it up on the camera right. The Hanging of Elizabeth Reid, a Ghost Story. It's kind of reflecting light there. But anyway, that was by Joe Terre, and it was by Red Room Creative Media. And you guys all probably were, keeping track of that and the story we done on Elizabeth Reid and the documentary we put out regarding Elizabeth Betsy Reid. Somebody said nice butt on the live feed there. That's funny. I'll try not to do that again. But anyway, we filmed that documentary with Joe Terre. It was a blast. We started on Friday the 13th of 2020, and I believe that was like March 13th, 2020. We started filming, and we filmed at the Lawrenceville High School. There at that location where she was hung. We filmed at the old Lawrenceville Cemetery where supposedly she could be buried. We filmed, Baker Cemetery, obviously, where her final resting place probably is located. And we're going to get to that when we talk about another event that took place this year, which is really awesome. But if you guys haven't watched that yet, check out our documentary we done this year and got released. I mean, this has been a great year for us. I mean, 2020 has been an awesome year for the Crawford County Ghost Hunters. I mean, we've done a lot this year. So check out the documentary. It's on Amazon Prime. It's called Hanging Elizabeth Reid, a Ghost Story by Joe Terre. And you can check that out. Find it on Amazon Prime. If you guys haven't seen that documentary, definitely check it. Close but no secret. Oh my God. They're still commenting on my bending over, but trying to find the next one here we done. Sorry, I've got some of these out of order, guys. Number 10, we went to Stepp Cemetery. Now, Stepp Cemetery, that was a pretty cool investigation. That's over in Indiana. So Stepp Cemetery, we went on March 14th to that location. That's in Morgan Monroe State Forest. That's Monroe County, Indiana, is where Stepp Cemetery is located. Unfortunately, here recently, I think it was vandalized. Did you guys see that? Where Stepp Cemetery, where they broke the sign and everything.
Pictures of that.
Yeah, so that kind of sucks. They broke the sign at Stepp Cemetery here, and I don't know why people do that. Like all these haunted locations that are listed all over the place. You get kids that have nothing better to do, I guess, than to go break and tear things up, and hopefully they don't get caught by us. But that was a cool place, a Stepp Cemetery. There's a legend of a lady in black out there, and some people say her name is Anna, and she might be associated with a child that's buried in the back corner of the cemetery, and they call him Baby Lester. And there's a lot of toys and stuff all over the grave in the back part. There's also what they call a warlock's chair in the cemetery, and it's basically a stump that has been cut to look like a chair. But over the years, it's kind of just turned into a stump. But there's a lot of bad, vibes associated with this stump or this chair if you sit in it. Supposedly you're supposed to die in like a couple weeks if you sit down in this chair. People will see the apparition of a lady out there in Stepp Cemetery. Just a lot of strange things happen out there, and it's in the middle of nowhere. I'm surprised. I don't know if we went live on that one or not. I think we did. But if we got signal out there, I'm surprised. I can't remember what ones we went live on and what ones we didn't. But there's a cabin back of the woods that we're going to investigate in 2021 near Stepp Cemetery that you can spend the night in. So that's one of the things we're going to be doing in 2021. We're going to be going back to the Stepp Cemetery area and investigating the cemetery again and the cabin located in the woods. That's if we can get permission again due to the recent vandalism. We had permission from the sheriff's department to be in there when we did our investigation and everything. And we also had we met some really cool people in that investigation. There was a group of individuals from the Texas area that were in there with their kids, and I think they still follow our page. and that's the thing about doing these investigations, guys, all over. It's the people you meet. Not so much since COVID, everybody's staying in the house, but used to, when you go out to these locations, you run into groups of people, some of them good, some of them bad, but the good ones, is what makes it worth doing too. We met so many people, made so many friends, like all over the United States doing this, different places. And, they follow our page, they keep up on our videos. It's just really cool to meet some of these people, but, that's Stepp Cemetery in Morgan Monroe State Forest. That was number 10, I believe, on our list of places. If I can get my cards in order here, right. Now, while we were over there at Stepp Cemetery, we also investigated a location called Fry Cemetery, and we'd actually been called into that place by a local because they were experiencing strange things, and it's spelled Frye Cemetery. And I'm not going to give out the exact location, but it's over by Stepp Cemetery in Monroe County. And they claim that a guy runs out into the road in front of traffic and people will hit him, but it's a ghost. And it's so real. I mean, blood will drip off this guy. He looks like he's all bloody, and they think he's been in an accident. So people try to pick him up, and he disappears. And some people have hit him to the point where they thought, excuse me, that that's weird. I lost my voice. Some people hit him. I think it's my cold coming back. Hold on, guys. Gotta get a drink. I think that was one of those pine lawn moments, Amanda, where I got choked.
Oh, I was going to say, I think BB just fingered me.
Yeah, maybe that's a pine lawn deal. But anyway, guys, I'm getting over a sickness anyway, so don't know what it was. I don't think it was COVID, but I don't know. So if I lose my voice again, I apologize. I don't know what happened there. I made my eyes water. But anyway, Fry Cemetery, this guy walks out into the road and gets hit. People have actually hit this guy and called the police. They'll hit him and call the police, and it happens all the time, they say. They're like the police, because when we called, we were asking the police to try to give us information about that. We were like, you guys get a lot of reports about a guy getting hit at Fry Cemetery, and they go, all the time. I go, what do you think about it? They go, it's a ghost. That's what the dispatcher's exact word was when I called into the sheriff's department to talk to him about it. Because I was going to interview him and talk to him. They literally told me, you don't very often have, officials like that say, oh, it's a ghost. I mean, she was being serious. She goes, it's a ghost. We have no explanation for it, People call it in. He's not there. And there's a cemetery right there where he runs into the road. So, I mean, just strange events at Fry Cemetery. That's in Monroe County, Indiana.
So are we going to check that one out too when we go back?
Yeah, because all three of these places are close to Stepp Cemetery. So we'll do a reinvestigation of Stepp Cemetery, Fry Cemetery, and the next one we're going to talk about, which is really cool. There's 3 right there in the same place, Amanda. So you guys are going to like this one. The number 12 place is Pleasant View Cemetery. And if you go back through our photo albums, it's the coolest statue I've ever seen in my life. It's like a soldier, and it's like he's holding a gun. He's got his satchel. I mean, it's so detailed. This dude looks real when you pull up. It freaked us out because we'd had another report of people seeing this soldier walking in the cemetery. And we pull up the cemetery, and we thought it was a real guy standing out there. I mean, we're like, oh, my God, there he is. But ended up, it's the statue out there. But it's so realistic. And he has, these bright, blue eyes that glow when you hit him with the light. It's got, reflective, blue eyes. It's cool as heck. People lay pennies all over his grave. One of the stories about Pleasant View Cemetery over there in Monroe County, Indiana, is that if you don't lay a penny, something will happen, because the soldier's supposed to guard the cemetery and you're supposed to give him a penny for good luck and everything. And people that haven't left a penny have said that their cars won't start up when they go out there, and they can't go anywhere. And one individual I seen on a forum said they had to go back, leave him a penny. And the second they put the penny on the grave, his buddy was in the car, and the car started back up, like as soon as he left the penny on there. So that's a pretty cool story. Also, yeah, I may be able to debunk that getting choked at Pine Lawn now since I got choked here in my room. So I don't know what the heck's going on, but maybe the Pine Lawn ghost is in here because he knows he's going to get talked about tonight. But what's that, Ed?
OB.
Yeah. But anyway, that was Pleasant View Cemetery, Monroe County, Indiana. Next one we're going to talk about number 13, and this is kind of where our April 13th is kind of where our quarantine edition started. And if you guys remember our quarantine edition videos, we pretty much went from April 13th, I think, to May 12th, and we done 26 to 28 videos. 26 we actually labeled, but we kind of did 28 quarantine videos. And they pretty much ended with the Miriam livery house. But I want to talk about some of the things that happened to us on our quarantine edition videos. You know, we did 28 of those. And it was mostly like, you know, like our team members, because at that time they were saying we couldn't do anything. We couldn't go out. So I told all the team members at the time, you know, take your own cameras, do your own investigations. I'll give you administrative access to go live on the page. So I told, you know, Ben Irvin, I told Jareth, you know, Pinkston, you know, all the team members, Dickerson and Bowen, they done one. So we each went out as individuals, or like me and Courtney went out as a team. You know, we done videos, you know, throughout the quarantine because we weren't supposed to be in big groups. So that's how we got around it. You know, we just went out individually and filmed, and it turned out pretty cool. We had a lot of stuff happen on these quarantine edition videos. And if you guys want to go back and watch all those, they're numbered. And it's pretty neat. Riley's saying she followed me on the chats there. Probably.
Agree.
Yeah. But definitely check out the quarantine videos we done. But a couple that really stand out in my mind. They're kind of funny. Some of them are and some of them aren't. But we investigated an old house up by Charleston, Illinois. That was reported to be haunted. So we go to this house, and it's actually out along 130 on your way to Charleston. I'm kind of telling where it's at. But we investigate this old house. It's been rumored to be haunted for years. It was just me and Courtney. We're investigating. The back part of this house is missing. You know, we investigated back in the day. The whole house was there, but now the back part of the house is missing. You can still go in parts of it. You have to be extremely careful. But I was sitting there filming, and this is where a lot of our previous jokes come from later on in the year. A cardinal flew and hit me right square in the forehead and about knocked me unconscious. I mean, it hit me so hard. I saw stars. Everything went white. I mean, like, I'm serious. I was like, I'm serious. It about knocked me out. And just don't mess with cardinals. Those things hit hard. So, yes, Killer Cardinal, Karen Cat says. Thanks to everybody out there watching too. Like, just so I can get this in real quickly. Like, Karen Cat, you know, Tammy Joe, you know, Deb, Riley, Michelle, Linda, Jake, and Kelsey. You know, there's a lot of people out there that watch our show. Jen and Doit. A lot of people watch our show religiously and watch it, you know, every time we go live. We appreciate everybody. There's hundreds of you, you know. I'm only naming a few, and I'm sorry, you know, if I don't name some of you, but I can't name everybody. But I mean, thank you everybody that watches our stuff, because like, you know, we like to show you guys what we do. Tiffany's on there. Brimberry, I mean, she watches a lot of our stuff. You know, just thank you guys for watching us, you know, during the quarantine and all that too. I know you guys, you keep us entertained too by your comments and everything a lot of times because it's funny. But yeah, that Cardinal incident was crazy. Didn't find a lot of activity, but I got hit with a Cardinal. Which moves me on to one of our other quarantine editions, which isn't so funny. But we were investigating South Bend Cemetery south of Oblong. And a lot of people are already talking about this because they remember it. Paula is talking about it. We got shot at. And like, this would be our... Okay, we got shot at 3 times during 2020. And usually, in the past, I've only been shot at a couple times, but this is, we got shot at 3 times in 2020, guys. This is no joke. We literally got shot at. So we're down in South Bend Cemetery, and it's just me and Courtney. We're doing the quarantine edition videos. We're in the back part of the cemetery. This Jeep pulls up. I hide Courtney. Thought it was kind of weird the way they pulled up. And y'all probably know I'm also a concealed carry instructor, so I do have a concealed firearm on me usually when I'm out doing these investigations because we're in the middle of nowhere. And this is exactly why I have a firearm on me. It's for our protection and our team's protection when we're out. So I just want to let you guys know that, we are legal to carry like that. When you do see incidents happen, because in Pennsylvania, I did have to pull my gun and Dickerson on one of them. So we'll talk about that here later. But, we were at South Bend Cemetery. They come up into the cemetery and they actually fired. I heard gunshots out front of the cemetery. They shut the Jeep off, come into the cemetery, fire again. I hid Courtney in the back part of the cemetery. She's like hiding in the woods. And I'm pretty sure she was still going live. She didn't turn the live feed off, I don't think. And you hear her, oh my God, guys, I'm hiding behind a tree. And she's like, you hear her freaking out, like on the live feed, hiding, Hey, Mikey. Thanks for tuning in. We got Mikey on here tonight from Ghost Research Society. But anyway, we got Courtney hiding behind the tree, and there's gunshots going off. So I sneak up behind this building in the middle of the cemetery, and I've got my gun drawn because they've already shot guys. And I went around the back side, and I was at a position where I could see them, and they couldn't see me, so I had to drop on them. And they started to come up through the cemetery, and right before they got to the building where I was hiding behind, they turned around, went back to their Jeep, and rolled off, went down the road and shot again on Ravetown Bridge. They fired, and I went and found 45 casings and 9mm casings on the bridge at night where they had discharged a firearm off the bridge. So, and that's actually where we got shot at one time again in 2020. Were you guys there that night?
Yes.
It was tour night.
Yeah, tour night. I'll go ahead and talk about it. Yeah, tour night, we get shot at again on Ravetown Bridge. This drunk dude pulls up in a pickup truck. I don't think he shot directly at us. I think he fired in the air just to be an idiot. But he discharged a firearm right beside our whole tour group on the Ravetown Bridge on one of our haunted tours this year. And he finally, took off, got out of there. We called the sheriff's department, told him what he was driving, all that, He didn't shoot at us, or that'd been bad. But for him. Anyway, that was that was actually the third time. The second time was when we were in Pennsylvania. The third time, I was kind of skipping ahead but it was Ravetown Bridge again, which is weird. Same area we got shot at twice, but we'll get into the other time later on. But yeah, Courtney was filming the whole time during this quarantine edition while all that was going on. It was a pretty crazy video. So yeah, Jake was there on that tour. He says bush light in his hand and drove backwards. So that was a bad night. But exciting, I guess, if you call getting shot at exciting. We have some strange excitement in our lives. But that was 13th to 12th, our quarantine editions. May 16th, we investigated which is number 14, we investigated the Fairbanks Massacre site. And that was cold and raining that night, but we went live over in Indiana. We investigated a location over by the river where the Fairbanks Massacre took place. And we picked up some EVPs, in that area. Got some, EVP activity near the river and out in the woods where the Fairbanks Massacre site took place, which is a pretty cool location, but, not a lot happened there. But I just wanted to kind of mention that. When was the South Bend one, Jason? It was the first time was in April or May. I don't know when it was, they're asking. And then the last one, when was that last time, the haunted tour guys that they shot on South Bend or that area?
Week of October.
Yeah, I think so.
Which week?
The first week of October.
Okay, first week of October. That was the second incident down there. But I'm going to move on to number 15, and that was on May 17th of 2020. And what we did on May 17th of 2020, we investigated an undisclosed death site in Sullivan County, Indiana. And this was a really, really unique and cool investigation because we hadn't even planned on doing this. We were called in to investigate a cemetery in the same area. And some people called us because they seen us at the cemetery and told us to go check out this other location. And like we kind of found it on the map as being a strange marked location on the map, and we didn't know why. So we go to this lake over by Sullivan, Indiana, where an individual drove his car off into the lake, him and another guy, and one of them passed away, unfortunately, in this wreck. And we investigated this location that was marked, with the death of this individual. It's actually called his name there. I'm not going to say it because I don't want a bunch of people going out there and tearing stuff up. But we got some of the weirdest ghost box communication there ever. I mean, we were definitely communicating with something intelligent regarding the incident. But the family members, there's a big controversy over, whether the guy was on drugs when it happened or if the guy that got out actually left the other one to die or pushed him, left him in the car. There's a big controversy and family ordeal over that. So I don't want to get into it big time on here, but just a really weird investigation. If you guys watch that, it is on, I think we did go live for that and you guys can go back and watch that, but it was it's called the Undisclosed Death Location in Sullivan County. And we were investigating a lake. I actually walked out into the lake, probably, I don't know, knee deep in water off the landing where his car went in, and was doing EVP sessions and ghost box sessions, and picked up a lot of activity. I mean, a lot associated with the incident that happened there. But that was another cool one we done. Trying to read the comments as we go here too, guys. It says the new year looking to getting permits for the Gettysburg Cemetery. Yeah, we plan on going back to Gettysburg, Christopher, definitely. But anyway, that was the undisclosed death location. Number 16. If I can find this. My cards are all off here. All right, number 16, we were, I talked about the Merriam Livery House, I think, a little there. But Merriam Livery House, we investigated. I didn't talk about that one yet, did we, Ed?
You mentioned it.
You mentioned it.
Well, the Merriam Livery House, I'll go ahead and mention that a little bit more. But we investigated the Merriam Livery House, didn't find a lot there at Merriam Bluff. We investigated the whole Merriam Bluff area, and did an investigation of the Merriam Livery House, and didn't find, a lot at that location. But we did find, some at the Livery House. But going on to number 17, the Hannah House in Indy, we did an EVP investigation at the Hannah House in Indianapolis, Indiana. We did some investigations there. Didn't find a whole lot there either, but I did want to mention it. But getting into number 18, which is where we go to Tennessee. I'm trying to skip through some of this, guys, but we go through Tennessee on June 4th of 20. So that was our Tennessee trip when we went to investigate a lot of those locations. And on June 4th of 20, we investigated a place called the Stones River National Battlefield in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. So that was a battlefield where a lot of paranormal activity, has been reported over the years. So we went there, and there was a trench. And we actually went there with members of the Ghost Research Society. And we went there and done a investigation with them. And Dale, we were down in the trench, down in that area of one of the battlefield sites. And we picked up some really good EVP activity in the trench area at the Stones River National Battlefield. Other than that, we didn't find a whole lot at that location in Tennessee. But that was our Tennessee trip we started, where we started going across, to different places across the United States this summer. I know with COVID, we had a hard time getting in some locations, and we had to just go to the places that we could get into and get access, get permission. So it was kind of hard, limited us to some of the locations we could go to. But number 19, I want to talk about, that happened on June 5th, which was also during our Tennessee trip. And we investigated the Old South Pittsburgh Hospital in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee. And that place is really neat. And I mean, I cannot even explain how great the staff was at this location. The staff at the Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, they have paranormal teams coming there all the time. These people were freaking incredible. I mean, Gwen and God, I can't remember the one's name. I'm really sorry right now. But Gwen was one of the girls that helped us out there, and she's actually been on my talk show. Actually, both of them have been on my talk show. And in the past, talking about that, we didn't find a lot of activity at all at the South Pittsburgh Hospital in Tennessee. It's supposed to be one of the most haunted places, in that area or even in the United States, but we didn't find anything. We thought we got the most incredible piece of evidence ever there. It looked like a shadow figure pushing a wheelchair down the hallway. And it was so convincing. The staff, the owner, everybody was freaked out by it, said it was the best evidence they'd ever seen. They were really freaked out by it. And come to find out, after reviewing it when I got back home, I slowed it down. We looked at it. We went over it. And it was some strange shadow movement caused by somebody entering the room and having a flashlight on. And our camera rig was set up on a table filming for the live feed. And it's got a circle on it to where you can hold on to it. And it's got a big light. Well, that circle on the camera rig and that light made it look like a wheelchair or bed being pushed as that shadow went across the room. Strangest thing ever. If I wasn't there, I would have said it was paranormal and that's a wheelchair and a bed being pushed. But since I knew what was sitting on there, I went back, looked at it. Finally, we discovered that it was our camera rig creating a shadow onto the wall, making it look like a bed or wheelchair being pushed by a guy. It's still kind of weird because there's this black thing that shoots across there at the same time. But we pretty much debunked it as being a natural explanation. We came up with the camera rig theory, that's definitely what it was. After we looked at it, we compared it. I even put it up on a talk show and showed you guys we had debunked it. So we try to debunk everything we can. If we say something's paranormal, it's paranormal and we can't debunk it. We'll try, that doesn't mean we won't debunk it a year from now. If we post a picture up and we say it's paranormal now, in a year from now, we debunk it, we'll tell you, we'll be like, we debunked that picture. We've taken it off of there. So, and that happens sometimes. We'll post evidence later on. We'll be like, oh, that's what caused that. And we'll take it down and we'll let you guys know. But we try to debunk and come up with a natural explanation for everything that we encounter or that we find. We look for natural explanations first. So, so very seldom do we find paranormal activity. Number 15, that's number 20. I don't know. That was my old number I was looking at. I'm way off. Okay, number 20 investigation I want to talk about is Hales Bar Dam and Marina in Guild, Tennessee. Now, that was a daytime investigation we conducted there, and it was actually on June 6th of 2020. We conducted a daytime investigation of the Hales Bar Dam and Marina there because we'd had several other places scheduled for the same night, I believe. Well, that night we're supposed to be at Brushy Mountain. This is still our Tennessee trip I'm talking about. So, we do the Hales Bar Dam and Marina. We finally get in there. The guide takes us down through the tunnels, all through the bar the dam area. And this is supposed to be one of the most haunted dams in the world, guys. It's, I believe, definitely number one in the United States, I think, and one of the most haunted dams in the world. A lot of people died there during the construction of the dam. A lot of people have committed suicide there. Just a lot of strange deaths and events have taken place. Well, while we were doing a walkthrough, a history tour with the guide, unfortunately, I was saving my recorder because I knew we were going to Brushy Mountain that night. I didn't want to waste all my memory on my recorder. But Dale, he wasn't filming either, I don't think, at the same time. But he had an IR night shot video camera he was using in there filming. But I think he had put it down when this happened. there was another lady with us. She was with another paranormal group, and I cannot remember the name of their group. I apologize, but she had her recorder running, and she has yet to ever give me the clip. And I believe she couldn't find it when she went back to review it. But we heard what sounded like a person just start going, ooh, like your typical ghost sound, almost like a moan and like even somewhat singing. And it echoed throughout the whole place. And like, there was nobody else in the building. And like, even the guide, he was like freaked out. He went running down the hallway, to look, and we couldn't find any explanation for that event. Yeah, Mikey said, I love that place so much. Yeah, Mikey was there, guys, out there. He was there that day. Dale, trying to think who else was there. We had a bunch of people. Courtney was with me. Anyway, the Hales Bar Dam and Marina, I've talked with them, and that's probably one place we're going to go back to in 2021 this year. For a nighttime investigation, a full-scale nighttime investigation. It's going to be really cool there in Tennessee. We're going to try to get a nighttime deal, full-scale in there, because out of, all the places, I mean, that was definitely unexplainable. I couldn't figure out what caused it. Nobody was in the building that we know of, unless somebody snuck in and faked it, which is possible because we deal with a lot of fakery coming up in 2020 we're going to talk about. So after what I've seen later on in the year, I wouldn't put it past somebody faking it, but I'm gonna get on a rant here if I don't get off that. But anyway, that was the Hales Bar, Dam and Marina in Guild, Tennessee, our number 20 investigation of the year. Really cool place. I recommend it if you guys want to see that. That's a neat place. And they got a big anaconda or some kind of big snake in there that kills rats. So you'll just be randomly walking around. So don't think that's paranormal if you're in there and you hear rats getting crushed and killed. Like you hear the bones breaking and squealing sounds. It's actually that snake killing rats in there. It's like loose in the dam, and like they leave it so it will kill the rats. So yeah, we went up into the locker room. It was actually, I don't even like mentioning these people, but it was actually on a episode of Ghost Adventures. Hales Bar, Dam and Marina was, and up in the room where they caught an apparition, which was probably Zach walking across there. That's where the snake hangs out. But the snake hangs out up in the locker room. I looked all through those lockers. I couldn't find him. Like Courtney was freaking out. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm looking for the snake." And she was like, she freaked out and like took off. But I never could find him. But he supposedly lives there. Just warning you if you ever go there. But number 21, we're getting into Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary in Petros, Tennessee. And that again is on the night of June 6th of 20. So we did a full-scale investigation of Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary that night. We went in there, really, really cool place. And we went all through the building, there at Brushy Mountain, and, did a walkthrough, a history tour, and then we had it the whole night to investigate. The cool thing that happened there, and this was pretty much paranormal too. I had no explanation. We never did debunk this. Me and Courtney was in what was called D block, and it was D block of the prison area. And it was basically separated from the rest. It was kind of out in the courtyard, this separate building out there. And I guess it's where they kept some of the harshest criminals or some of the worst people, that was there. So we were in this D block area, and I'm recording, and you can go back and watch this. I posted an evidence video regarding this also and played it on one of our talk shows. But all of a sudden we hear like a door, like slamming. And I went running around looking, I went outside to make sure nobody was around the building. I even did a complete circle around the perimeter of that D block area. And it was kind of freaky when I took off to go look for the sound because I got lost. I couldn't figure out where the dang exit door was. I'm yelling at Courtney. I'm like, how do we get out of this place? I don't think that was my exact words. It's probably a little worse than that. But I may have dropped a few F-bombs in that one. I don't remember. But I got to be careful with that too, guys. I apologize. But sometimes when we hear and see things, you don't know what's going to come out of my mouth, but or any of our mouths for that matter. But we hear this creaking sound. We get it all on recorder, and we captured it on live and on our recorder, our audio recorders, and it sounded like a door opening and slamming. I radioed the staff. They had not moved. Nobody had moved. And come to find out, I went and looked at all the cell block doors, and the ones that are bars, basically, they are all welded shut, so the public can't get into them. So there's no way any of those doors could have done that. It had to be some type of residual sound, some type of residual paranormal activity we picked up at Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary there in Tennessee in D Block. So I rack that up as one of the few places in 2020 we got legitimate paranormal activity. I mean, Hales Bar Dam and Marina, I think we did, if nobody was faking it. Brushy Mountain, definitely. I mean, I cannot debunk Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary and the sound we picked up in D Block. We also got some incredible evidence on the ghost box. When I asked if they'd been involved in any type of incident, I think Dale, it was either me or Dale, picked up something on the Phasma box that said I got shot. And there was a shooting involved with some guards and some inmates, I think, that got a hold of a gun. I may be wrong, but I think Mikey looked that up when I talked about this the last time and confirmed it, that there was a shooting inside the prison regarding that. And we heard I got shot. I mean, just plain as day when I asked about that incident. So that came across the Phasma box, I believe, which was pretty cool. It was audible on the live feed on the cell door closing, Diana said. So she must have heard and listened to it and remembers it. So, yeah, really cool investigation. Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary. That ended our Tennessee trip with Brushy Mountain that night. So that was in June of 2020. Number 22 I want to talk about was the Floyd Pruitt grave in Indiana. It's actually Orange County, Indiana. That's where a guy killed his wife with a log chain. And you can see the image of a chain like on his tombstone now. You can actually see chain links on the stone. There's a lot of legends, a lot of stories say that the link grows every Halloween. And Mikey said, yep, a shooting. So, yep, he confirmed that again. But, yeah, there was a chain on this stone. But this guy supposedly killed her with a chain, And later on, a bar goes across the chain and forms like a cross. So people think maybe he was forgiven for what he done. But people say the chain grows every Halloween or every full moon. But they replaced it. And this is a cool story because this is almost where I got my paranormal start, guys. Like, my grandparents back in, used to live around French Lick, Indiana. And when I was a kid, I would spend, my summers, going with them all over these back roads of Indiana, like Jasper, Indiana, French Lick, Indiana, Paoli. I know some of those roads better than I know Crawford County because, we were all over these roads. But that was one of the locations they took me to when I was, a kid. I'm talking small. My grandpa and grandma took me to this gravesite, and that's how I knew about it. It's not a real well-known place, even though it should be. It's one of the strangest places I've ever seen because, one of the strangest tombstones. There should be a documentary about it. It's that weird. But anyway, it's a shadow of a chain growing up this tombstone, and it's the Floyd E. Pruitt grave over in Indiana. But I'm going to go on and get away from that. But we find a lot of activity there, when we go there a lot of times. But they replaced the tombstone once, and it came back, the chain did. So a lot of strange activity with that. But we're going to move on because I got a lot on the list. Number 23 was a midnight haunted house investigation in Oblong on June the 20th of 2020. Now, that took place. A guy called me and said, hey, I'm moving out of my house. It's rumored to be haunted. I want to see if it is. He was actually a police officer in Oblong at the time, and he was moving because he took a job in another county, and we came in and investigated his house, which had a Masonic connection to me. I knew the guy that used to live there before him, and he was a Freemason that belonged to my local lodge. So I tried to communicate with and he has passed away. I tried to communicate with him, using Masonic symbolism and, Freemason talk, to get him to communicate with me. And we got some pretty interesting things in there, but wouldn't say it was extremely active or haunted. But that was a midnight haunted house investigation in Oblong. Number 24, Lawrenceville Masonic Lodge. Now, are you guys in here yet on that one?
Yeah.
Is that where you guys joined about probably Lawrenceville Masonic Lodge or the first go around? Probably about, I've got down, it was on June 27th to 20, Ed?
Oh, no.
Nah, no.
You weren't there yet? Okay. I'm trying to get Ed and Amanda in here, guys. We'll get them in here sometime. Maybe I should just put them in on the second or third hour here, but are you guys getting bored over there?
No.
Okay. I'll say if you need to like walk around, I'll talk. If you, I'll yell at you or something. But anyway, the number 24 is the Lawrenceville Masonic Lodge. That's Edward Dobbins Lodge, number 164. That's number 164 in Lawrenceville, Illinois. Now they've had reports of all kinds of activity in there. The master, current worshipful master, the secretary. A lot of people have experienced strange events in there. Everything from seeing old, like Civil War looking people standing in the balcony to hearing a kid run down the hallway. And this place is connected to the Underground Railroad. So Jen Newland said it's not a good investigation unless you drop the F-bomb. Sorry, I had to throw that in there. But yeah, it's connected to the Underground Railroad. There is a tunnel underneath there that goes to the river. And Abraham Lincoln attended church here when it was a church previous to it being a Masonic lodge. So it's got a lot of history. It is the oldest building, I believe, in Lawrence County. It is, it's just amazing. Got a lot of paranormal activity, a lot of strange activity, and a lot of history. We love history, because without history, you can't really have a haunting. So, any places that have a lot of connections to a lot of different things, like the Underground Railroad, Abraham Lincoln, a Masonic lodge, just a lot of stuff going on in one place, it's more likely to be active. So that was the Lawrenceville Masonic Lodge. We really didn't pick up a whole lot. On one of our investigations there, previous to this one, the clock face opened up, and they report that sometimes. There's this huge clock, and they call it the heart of the lodge because it just sits there and it ticks and ticks, and it's really loud, and it's probably annoying during our live feed because you can hear this thing ticking the whole time. But the clock face will open up on its own in there also. But really cool place, Lawrenceville Masonic Lodge, which brought us into, they let us do investigations and haunted tours there once we done our investigation there, which will bring us into October here later on. But number 25, now this video went kind of viral. I don't know, we got like 26, I don't know, it went good for us. It had 26,000 views on this next one I'm talking about. It was Casbar and Ramsey Cemetery over in Effingham County. And I think we ended up having 26,000 people on that one. And it was on July 17th of 2020. Now, that's a cemetery over in Effingham County that supposedly has everything from a werewolf to a guy with red glowing eyes. And the actual legitimate thing that happened there was a guy got shot in or committed suicide there in a morning chapel. I think it was in the 60s. I got a lot of information floating around up here, guys, right now. Sorry, because I got 50 things to talk about. But it was in the morning chapel. He shot himself there in Casbar Ramsey Cemetery in Effingham, Illinois. We picked up, we get weird things there. I wouldn't say it's extremely active, but I would say it definitely has some activity. During our investigation, we heard a guy go, "Hey," just like that. He's like, "Hey," and none of us were in the area where the hey came from. It was a male voice, and we picked it up. It was extremely loud, and we can't really debunk that. We don't know where it came from. We also did an investigation there when Dale and his team came during the summer. We took him out there, and Dale's got a video of a meter. I don't remember what meter it was, but it flies off of a tombstone, basically. And it looks like something physically pushes and hits this meter off of the tombstone there at Casbar Cemetery, Ramsey Cemetery in Effingham, Illinois. So, Mikey said another cool place. Thanks for taking us there. Yeah, no problem, Mikey. But yeah, that was a really good investigation too. There at Ramsey, Casbar Cemetery in Effingham. And on one of our investigations, we ran into a big group of girls in a Jeep there that got out that was interested in paranormal. stuff. So they stayed with us, and they're on one of our videos, and they told us about several places. Why I'm mentioning this, because a couple of cemeteries we investigate later on came from these girls telling us about it. One of them was called the Runaway Slave Cemetery up in Coles County. And like there was a slave actually out there, and he's buried in the back part. And you were on that one, right, Ed?
Yeah, we both was on that one.
Yeah. Do you remember the name of that cemetery? I'll tell the name if I don't even remember.
Can't remember the name of it, but I remember, wasn't his name Jacob?
Jacob, you're right. Yep. Jacob, the runaway slave, I think is what's on his stone, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice.
That book back there that wasn't there no more, but it was a guest book.
Yes. Yeah, there's a guest book Ed's talking about, and you're supposed to sign the guest book if you go to the cemetery, which is really weird and unique. I've never seen anything like it. You go to the back part of the cemetery, and it's almost like he has his own section of the cemetery. You kind of go in this entrance that goes deeper into the woods, and there's a guest book there, which was missing when we were there. We found where it was at, and it's a cool tombstone of an African-American slave, and it says Jacob, the runaway slave, and I think it's unknown on... Something was unknown on his grave, wasn't it? The death date or something.
He was from Tennessee. Runaway slave from Tennessee.
From Tennessee.
Oh, from Tennessee. Yeah. I think it did say from Tennessee, didn't it?
Yeah.
But they didn't know when he died.
Maybe that's...
Or it was either when he died or when his birth was.
Or his birth.
I can't remember which one.
Yeah. I think his birth was unknown on the tombstone. I remember reading unknown something on there. Yeah. That was a really cool place too, and those girls had told us about that location, so we went and investigated it. And there's a lot of places we investigated I'm not even going to talk about tonight. Like I say, we've had like 296, I think I wrote down, and I'm only going to talk about 52 of them because I don't have time. We'll be here all night. But the next one I want to talk about, number 26 on our list, was on July 23rd of 20. And I believe we went to Williamsburg Hill. We done an investigation out at Williamsburg Hill out there over in, I think that's Shelby County. Got to get all my counties straight here. But just to let everybody know, we always get permission. We have permission from the Sheriff's Department and the Township Board to be there when we go there, because that is a restricted area and it is no trespassing. So please, if you're watching this, do not go there, and do not go there at night. We had permission to do that. They knew what we were doing. Because that cemetery has been vandalized out, I mean, a lot. They actually, somebody vandalized the cemetery after our first investigation there. I think it was after our first, maybe it was right before we done our first one, and destroyed like 120 graves. And they had to go in and reset them and do all that. So, I mean, that makes me mad. I don't know why people do that. Vandalism, even if you're into paranormal stuff, guys, vandalism does not increase paranormal activity, and it's not going to make a ghost pop out of the ground. I don't know what people's point in that is. I think it's just drunk kids just being destructive because, you know, the whole COVID thing made people worse. You know, everybody was wanting to get out of the house, and they didn't think any law enforcement was around. They were just destroying things, burning things. I think more haunted locations and more haunted places got burnt and vandalized during this COVID-19 team than I've ever seen in my life. Ashmore Estates got broken into. Thank goodness they caught those people. Several other places got broken into, you know, haunted locations all over. You know, they're just getting broken into by people, but definitely don't do that if you're watching out there. Well, Williamsburg Hill, we investigated Williamsburg Hill several times this year. One of them we kept undisclosed, and people figured out on the live feed, and there was a big fight because somebody figured it out and she put it out there. We really didn't care, but that was a big ordeal. Number 27, the Ashmore Estates. Speaking of that, that was on July 25th of 2020. We investigated the Ashmore Estates in Ashmore, Illinois. And we had a birthday party at the beginning of it for a group of people that asked us to do a birthday party there for their kids. So we kind of did this birthday party for some individuals, and they stayed there with us until like midnight. And then we did like a more serious investigation after they left there at the Ashmore Estates. That, you know, we like to do public stuff for people, you know, and they ask us to do things like that, you know, birthday parties, events and things. We will, you know, do that. That's what went on at the Ashmore Estates. So we did investigate it. We did get a really kind of weird thing on the SLS camera there. Other than that, nothing really. I wouldn't say that place is extremely haunted. I've been there about 4 times now, and nothing usually happens at all. I'm not a big fan of the place. I mean, I'm not going to bash it, but I'm not a big fan of it. I don't think there's any trickery going on at the Ashmore Estates, but I don't like locations that have speakers all over. This place had speakers set up all over the building. And when I asked if there was any Wi-Fi, they told me no. And we were picking up a strong Wi-Fi signal, which was strange. When I know there was Wi-Fi available there, we were told there wasn't. And there were speakers. When I asked the owner, I'm not even going to bring his name into it because, I'm not accusing him of anything, but he said that there was no internet available there. And I asked him why the speakers all over the building. And he said they use that for paranormal events to broadcast and haunted houses, which they play stuff over, which really kind of gets me because if you can play stuff during a haunted house or an event, you can play stuff during somebody's investigation and mess with them. So not a big fan of having speakers all over a building you investigate. So Ashmore Estate's not my favorite place. Haven't picked up a lot of stuff there. We got a little thing on the SLS camera of what looked like a kid sitting in a chair maybe, and he moved, but I'm also not a big fan of the SLS camera. So I would say not as haunted. I would say more hype than haunted on the Ashmore Estates. Just my opinion. Lost my place here. All right, new card. Number 28. We're getting there, guys. So hang in there. We got some really cool things to talk about, some things that happened to us. So don't leave us yet. If you do come back and watch this tomorrow. If you get tired watching this, definitely watch our rerun because we will be putting this up for you guys to review again. Number 28. This is where we head off to Pennsylvania during the summer. And that started on August the 7th of 2020. So we went on our Pennsylvania trip to investigate locations, across Pennsylvania and the Gettysburg area, Gettysburg battlefields and battle sites, which was really cool. But the Pinhurst Asylum was the investigation we did on August 7th of 2020. A big asylum, supposed to be one of the most haunted places. Didn't find anything. Nothing. I don't know. We were down some tunnels, got some strange things on the ghost box, but I wouldn't call that paranormal activity. I can pick up stuff on the ghost box at McDonald's. So I don't know. It was, I wouldn't say the Pinhurst Asylum's a real haunted location, but we did investigate it. Live went really well. We had a lot of viewers, a lot of watchers on it. We appreciate that, but not a lot of paranormal activity took place. The next location we went to was on, that was August 7th, I think. Yeah, in Pennsylvania there. But next location we went to in Pennsylvania was on August the 7th. That evening, or that night, afternoon, I guess it'd be, we went to the Devil's Den area. And the Devil's Den area, is a battlefield area there at Gettysburg. It's got really cool rock formations and stuff in that area. And we didn't know it at the time, but we went in and talked to a local historian and tour guide in one of the shops later on. And they said that there was a mountain lion spotted in the Devil's Den area during the time that we done our pretty much almost evening investigation out there. So there was a mountain lion running around the whole time there at Devil's Den, and we didn't know it, and it had been seen by several people, I guess, in the park. So, but yeah, we investigated the Devil's Den area. Didn't get a lot of activity there, but off from Devil's Den, if I'm remembering this correctly, there's a place called Triangular Field. Now, when we were in Triangular Field doing an investigation, that was weird. I had some things happen to me that was pretty strange. In the Triangular Field area near the woods, we started hearing what sounded like, I think it was me and Allison Turner was with me down there, I believe. And maybe Courtney Dickerson was there on that trip too. But we were down in that area by the woods in the Triangular Field area, and we started hearing what sounded like gunshots. And it's getting dark, maybe that was our second investigation there, but during our nighttime investigation there, it was starting to get dark to the area to where, the there shouldn't have been any gunshots going off like we were hearing. We were hearing what sounded like cannon fire, off in the distance, which is strange. That's what people report there at Gettysburg. They report hearing cannon fire and gunshots, residual sounds of the events that took place at Gettysburg. It was bloody battles. A lot of people died in a short amount of time there. And when I was out in Triangular Field, I was walking up toward the Triangular Field area, actually, and it felt like something stabbed me in the side with a knife. And like I jokingly said, somebody stabbed me with a bayonet, but that's what it felt like. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I was picking up some type of residual event that took place or what, but it took me almost down. Like my eyes were watering. I kind of quivered, went down like that. It felt like something stabbed me right through the rib cage. Kind of weird. I mean, I'm not saying it was paranormal, but it was weird. And then like somebody else said they thought they had kind of a weird experience like that once before. One lady told us of an experience where she was walking and actually relived walking through bodies piled upon bodies. Like she opened her eyes and she was walking through a past event where she was seeing people laying on the ground bleeding everywhere. And, it took her a while. She kept blinking and blinking, and finally she was back into our reality. But she somehow went back through time and was seeing a past event replay itself. That happens in the Gettysburg area a lot, on these battlefields. You'll see and hear past events that take place. The next Iverson Pits, that was another area we investigated there. The Jenny Wade house, that was the night of August the 7th, too. Like we went from the evening there, and then we went to the Jenny Wade house because that was a late nighttime investigation. The Jenny Wade house, and Jenny Wade was one of the only civilian casualties of the Civil War. She was struck by a stray bullet while she was in her kitchen in this house. And they say she haunts the house, and the bullet hole is still in the door. It's still over in the frame of the house. It's pretty cool to see. But we didn't find any activity at the Jenny Wade house. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then there was an orphanage, too, right next door. We also investigated the orphanage there in town. Didn't find a whole lot of activity at the orphanage either. So Jenny Wade house and orphanage, we didn't find any evidence of it being haunted, but that's not saying it's not. Number 31 I want to talk about was the Reynolds Woods area in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. We investigated that on August the 8th of 20. And we went into the woods area, and we got a lot of EVP activity on the trail behind where, where the guy supposedly got killed and fell off his horse and died there. We were walking down the trail in the woods there at Reynolds Woods in, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And we started hearing things like in the woods, which is pretty weird. And we got a lot of EVP activity. We got a lot of ghost box communication or ITC communication, if that's what you want to call it. We always look for intelligent responses that correspond with the environment and the place we're at, not just random responses. But the Reynolds Woods area, I would say, is probably haunted. I mean, we did get some stuff in the Reynolds Woods area. Iverson Pits, number 32, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Now, this is where me and Dickerson record the weirdest thing yet. So we're sitting there at Iverson Pits in Pennsylvania. Me and Dickerson, we're sitting out in the field across where all this stuff happened, where the battle took place, and where most of the people fell. And we hear what we think is gunshots again and cannon fire. Now we hear the gunshots, we hear the cannon fire, and it's like boom, 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 boom. Problem is, about 2 minutes after we hear it, we see fireworks in the distance. So we had to pretty much debunk it as being some type of fireworks sound, but it was still really weird. After the fireworks take place, we pick up what sounds like two generals or two soldiers yelling commands at each other, like yelling out in the field. Like we don't know if the fireworks triggered a residual response. And that's what we picked up, but we still can't really debunk that. We picked it up. We don't think the sound could have been carrying that far because it literally sounded like it was in the field next to us. And it sounded like two people yelling at each other. We caught it on task cam on the recorder, on the audio recording, and clearly hear it. So I would say that area, the Iverson Pits area, pretty haunted. Because we can't really debunk the two sounds we heard, the fireworks and gunshot. We can debunk that as being fireworks. Look at the comments here. Tiffany says in Gettysburg, when you were leaving town and something came over the radio. Oh, yeah. That was weird. We were leaving Gettysburg. I remember what happened, but something came over our radio, and I can't remember if it said goodbye. I think it said goodbye. Came over our two-way radios as we were leaving town. Just a weird voice came over. I mean, right as we hit the city limits of Gettysburg, it was goodbye. Like over our radios that we still had on. I forgot about that. And I think we caught that on the live feeds when she's saying that. But they said they heard cannon fire on the live feed. Happy 2021, brothers and sisters in ectoplasm. That's funny. Reading your comments, guys. But yeah, we appreciate you guys watching and staying, hanging in there. Like I say, I've got 50 some locations, and we are on number 32. Now we're getting ready to talk about number 31, which is Sachs Bridge. Now, this is again in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania area. We investigated Sachs Bridge on the night of, I believe it was August 8th, 2020. Now, that place, that was our second location where we got shot at during the year. We were out at Sachs Bridge. It's a cool bridge where they've reported a lot of paranormal activity. There's famous pictures taken off Sachs Bridge. One of them is taken by a guy named Grayson. I can't remember his other name right now, but it's of a soldier standing on the bridge. They got a full body apparition of a soldier. But anyway, a lot of activity has been captured on Sachs Bridge there. And we went down a trail on the other side of the bridge. But when we went across the bridge, there was this big party going on. And we couldn't do a lot of EVP recording right there by the bridge. So we decided to go down this trail that was a public trail down the side of the creek there by the bridge, part of the area. And we go down toward the creek to get in a little more quiet location because some people that we pulled up there, they had told us that that trail is extremely haunted. They have activity along the trail too. So we go down the trail and we're sitting there in the filming live by the creek. And we're sitting there talking. And all of a sudden, boom, boom, we get a couple gunshots. And I mean, it sounded like they fired at us. I mean, this was no up on the air. They fired at us. Because, I mean, it was like I seen muzzle flash over. It went, and we got the girls behind the trees. We put them down behind a big stump there in the creek. And me and Dickerson drew our firearms at that point, and we went toward the trail, to clear it to make sure that, they weren't there and they weren't going to shoot at us coming up out of the wooded area. And it was just, we couldn't find him. We heard somebody running up in front of us, but we never could catch him. And I think they seen we had guns or something and decided they didn't want to get in a firefight. So they took off and went on through the woods and went back to the party, I assume. Well, we come up the trail. I put the girls behind us, me and Dickerson, I'm up in front, so if anybody comes out, I can try to take care of it. But we get out of there safely, get to the vehicles, decide to leave. The people are still partying over there. Nobody acts like anything happened when we get up there by the bridge. They're all ignoring us and like around their campfire drinking. And so we get to our vehicles and we go to another location down the road that was called Eisenhower or John Eisenhower Bridge, the Suicide Bridge. That was also on the night of August 8th of 2020. So we go to this bridge and we're sitting there on the bridge and we're hearing weird sounds. There was a group of people that were hearing knocks every time they left the bridge. Something was banging on the bridge, and we heard it too. They left, it banged on the bridge. We still don't really have an explanation for that. So, and it was reported to be haunted too, the John Eisenhower Bridge, which is also called Suicide Bridge there in Gettysburg. It's right down the road from Sachs Bridge. I mean, literally not even half a mile. I mean, it's walking distance from Sachs Bridge, which comes to my next thing. When we were there at the bridge, a group of, I believe it was 3 guys, walked up on us and kind of out of the darkness and started talking to us. That's what we're doing. We told them we were investigating. They started telling us about stuff. And finally, toward the end of the conversation, one of the guys, I knew they were acting weird. One of the guys looked at me and asked me what type of firearm I was carrying. Well, weird thing about this story, guys, is my firearm at that point was not visible. It was not showing. It was in my vest, completely zipped up, and I wasn't printing. And there's no way he could have figured out I had a firearm on me. So what we come to the conclusion was we were probably face to face with the shooter in the woods. That he had walked from one bridge to another and, tried to see who we were then and was talking to us because he asked me about that firearm. And I picked it up immediately that my firearm wasn't visible when he asked me what I was carrying. And none of the other team members figured it out till we got back. I go, you guys didn't realize he just asked me what type of firearm I'm carrying and it's completely concealed. So, we knew then that something weird was up with those individuals, but we think it was the guy that was possibly shot at us in the woods. But that's the short version of that long story. But going into 33, Pickett's charge in Pennsylvania, we investigated that location. Not a lot of activity picked up at Pickles. Can't talk tonight. Pickett's charge, not Pickles charge. Don't go to Pickles charge. That's a different place. That's the place Ed goes to, and he goes there. But I make fun of Ed a lot. I'm sorry, Ed. I'm trying to wake him up over there. He's falling asleep on me because, we're still not into where they joined the team, guys. I'm sorry, Ed. I should have joined you at the last 3 hours of this thing. But Pickett's charge, nothing. We investigated a cemetery in Maryland while we were out in the Pennsylvania area that we'd had reports of paranormal activity and got, nothing really there either. Hey, Greg. Yeah, I'm feeling better. Greg Koss asked me if I'm feeling better. Definitely feeling better, even though I lost my voice at the beginning of this thing. Okay, number 35, the private home of Amanda Ralton. So this is on August 22nd of 20 is when I have it down. Does that sound right?
Still wasn't a team member yet.
Right, yeah. But that's what made you want to join, right?
Yes.
It's okay. Number 35, we get called in to investigate a house. They say some weird stuff's happening. It happens to be the home of Amanda and Shauna Ralton. So we went there and investigated, and that kind of got Amanda interested, and here she is, guys. She is now on our team because we investigated her house. She really enjoyed it, went with us a few places, and I just want to say she has done an amazing job, on our team so far. I mean, I haven't had too many investigators join that go at it like she has, and just the stuff she's done has been amazing. She steps up there and leads our tours at the Pine Lawn. I mean, she's done a really good job. So that's Amanda. And Ed, like I say, he's been there for years. He kind of joined back in when they did, didn't you? Kind of around the same time.
Yeah, actually that night.
That night.
Yeah, you asked me to come back that night.
Yeah, because you went with us to that investigation, right? You were over there. Yeah.
Helping Jason set the cameras up and that night. Right.
So, yeah, that's where Ed and Amanda come back onto the team, or Ed comes back and Amanda starts on August 22nd of 2020. And then number 38. So, Amanda, she was talking to some guys about Pine Lawn, and we figured out that the person we were talking to wasn't the right owner, but the next one we're going to talk about is Pine Lawn Manor. So we're getting into the more current events here, guys, of 2020. We figured out who the real owner of Pine Lawn Manor was, which is not the owner we thought it was at the beginning, because this guy lied to us, and he's still got my bed. And you know who you are if you're watching out there. So I will get that bed back. But that's a long story too, guys. But yeah, Pine Lawn Manor, Sumner, Illinois. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. You've been watching it because that's where we've been at for the past, I don't know how many investigations, but that place is still the most amazing place. What do you say, Ed?
Quite a few investigations.
Yes, we have done, I don't even know. Well, we probably investigated 30 times now, haven't we?
If not more.
Yeah. We've probably been there at least 30, 35 times or more. I don't even know. We've been there a lot. We go there about every night, guys. That's probably 200 of our investigations this year. But no. But yeah, we go there all the time. We are still continuously having increased paranormal activity. Every time we have a public event there, the public witnesses paranormal activity. We'll have 30 people a night on some of our haunted Halloween events we had, on our tours we had this year. Multiple people are witnessing this stuff. The stuff that goes on there, from the marbles being thrown to the coins being tossed to plastic china balls being thrown. That's an inside joke too, because these plastic balls fell out of the air onto us. And I looked at it and it read China, and I made a joke that even the ghosts, get their stuff in China. So, which disappoints me highly. But, we're getting all kinds of stuff thrown at us in this building still. It is the most haunted place I have ever seen. I've been, like I say, I've been all over the United States in my 25 years of doing this, and parts of Canada investigating. I mean, I've been to just all kinds of states. The most haunted places you can imagine, they say, are the most evil, satanic places you can imagine. There is nowhere I have ever seen. I would put money it's the most haunted place. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. I mean, and it's right in Sumner, Illinois, which isn't our county, but it's right south of us. It's right south of Crawford County. It takes me about 35 minutes to get there, but it's the most haunted location I've ever seen. Of course, if you guys have been watching, you all know that because, you've seen our live feeds. We've captured the activity on our live feeds with camera systems, with everything. We've captured the dice being thrown. We got dice rolled at us that night. It equaled up, number 13?
Yeah.
Like all together, they rolled it equaled 13, I think. The night of Friday the 13th, we went there and it threw 13 objects at us. The night of Friday the 13th, I think we're up to over 80 objects that have been thrown at us in Pine Lawn Manor. They're asking if I'm buying it yet. I mean, we kind of are still in that talking stage, Carrie, but yeah, I have actually put money onto it. I don't know if it's going to be official, but yeah, we probably will try to buy Pine Lawn Manor completely, but we do have it under our management right now. And if you guys want a tour or a history tour of it, even if you don't want to stay up all night, message our page. We'll try to get you in there, but we try to do as many public events as we can in there so we can take and show everybody this location, show them that we're not just blowing smoke up people. I mean, this is just like unbelievable activity in this location. And I can't explain it. And these objects don't all originate from within the building. Most of the 80 objects have came from somewhere else, not within the building. Now, on a couple of occasions, we know where they came from, which is pretty cool. We actually got a letter that was on a table. We put a bunch of magnetic letters up on a table. Trish, one of our investigators, did to see if it would spell anything out. We come back into the location and it spelled out, this was after the doors were locked. We come back in, nobody else was in there, and it spelled out dead, but right in front of it, it says no, almost like they're saying no dead or not dead. We had the letters up there on the table. Couple kind of skeptical guys came in one night, and they were in group 3 hallway, which is on the opposite side of the building. And a number 5 off of the letter table got thrown and dropped right in front of them. There's numbers and letters in this pile of letters, and freaked them out. They'd never seen anything like it, so it transported a magnetic letter from one part of the building to another and dropped it in front of these people. So we know it can transport from pretty much anywhere. I don't really even know what to call it. It's transporting objects. They're coming from, somewhere else. I thought they were coming from a different dimension at first. I didn't know where they're getting these things, but the objects being transported, I think, are coming from Earth, and they're getting them from Earth because, unless there's a China in the other dimension, or which it probably is, knowing my luck, there's an afterlife and you suddenly go to China. But that's it, guys. You're in China. That's all there is after life. But I hope that's not the case. I'll come back here and haunt you for sure. But anyway, back to the non-China jokes. It said China on the ball. So that proved to me they can't be some of the stuff isn't coming from other dimensions. It's coming from right here on Earth. And they transported an object from one part of the building to another part of the building. Our most recent event, a golf ball got thrown. down the hallway on our Christmas event. And that was just crazy. I mean, that was in there. And I'm kind of getting ahead of myself because we got some stuff after Pine Lawn Manor. But I'll get back to Pine Lawn Manor and talk about our Christmas event and what happened. But going into that's Pine Lawn Manor. I mean, I know you guys have seen a lot of that. So, I mean, there was a lot of stuff that took place there. Lost my place there. So the next one I want to talk about is number 39, which is an old building on the square, which is turned out to be a Masonic lodge. That was in Robinson, Illinois. We were asked to investigate one of the buildings on the square there. And I think you guys were there too, right?
I went.
And it was.
Yeah, I went.
Yeah, that's where Dickerson crawled in the box upstairs and dug out the old Masonic Lodge papers and came out with a bat wing on his ear and some mouse turds hanging out of his mouth.
Right.
Yes, that one. Yeah, that was a really cool place because it was a building. We weren't sure what it was used for, but when I went upstairs, I knew it was probably Masonic Lodge because I'm a Mason. I said this was an old Masonic Lodge, but we couldn't find proof of it. And Dickerson crawled in this box that was laying down. I don't even know what this box was. I mean, I've been through about every degree in the Masonic, in the Masonic degrees you can go through it. I've never seen a box like this, but it was up there, and he crawls in there and he pulls out old petition papers, old Masonic documents and stuff stating that it was the old Robinson Masonic Lodge. So that was pretty cool. We did figure out it was a lodge at one time or used for a lodge for a short period of time on the square in Robinson. And we probably should do a return investigation there sometime. We didn't pick up a lot, but we could probably go back. Number 40, I want to talk about the hunt for Elizabeth Betsy Reid. So this was an incident that happened on October 20th of 2020. We ended the age-old question of whether or not there are two people or anyone, for that matter, buried at the gravesite of Elizabeth Betsy Reid, because they brought in ground-penetrating radar. They called us. We got to come in, and the guy went over and scanned it with the radar. He did the cemetery. He had to mark the cemetery for the township and everything. And he came in and he scanned that area for us. And there are two graves there behind the Elizabeth Betsy Reid grave marker, which reads Elizabeth Betsy Reid and Leonard. It reads death by hanging under her name and death by murder under his. And I wish we could have got this for our documentary, but I told Joe to hang on. He was jumping the gun on our documentary because we got a lot of stuff, that we could have put in the documentary. That would have been really neat, because if we would have filmed this, we had ground penetrating radar that they used to actually locate the bodies there at Elizabeth Betsy Reid's tombstone. We went live with that. So there are definitely two bodies buried in Baker Cemetery in Crawford County, Illinois, behind the Elizabeth Betsy Reid grave marker, because some people had argued she wasn't buried there. She's buried outside the Lawrenceville Cemetery. She's buried down in Lawrenceville underneath where they hung her. She's buried on her homestead. There's multiple places where people have argued she's buried. No, we don't have DNA evidence suggesting it's Elizabeth Reid behind the stone, but we've got ground penetrating radar evidence suggesting there's two people buried there, and there's a grave marker for two people there. So why they would put a grave marker there if it's not her, I don't know. So we'll just leave it at that. My true belief is she's buried there. There was witnesses that seen her, neighbors during the night that seen them bring her by horse and buggy back to the cemetery and bury her body. And when they were approached, they were told to get out of there. It was the family reburying her body in Baker Cemetery in Crawford County. So a lot of cool stuff happened over the years, especially with Elizabeth Reid and the documentary we done. And we just continuously kept finding things out about Reid, and just really opened up the big mystery of Elizabeth Betsy Reid, what happened to her, and where she's actually buried at. So that was pretty cool. And we also found that the Masonic Lodge in Lawrenceville had connections to Reid, that her body was supposedly, they have documents that Reid's body was taken to the Masonic Lodge or the church at that time for a short period of time to be held and they decided they didn't want to store her body there. So they took her away from there, and that's where she ended up somewhere else, and eventually in Baker Cemetery in Crawford County. But we didn't get any of that in the documentary because, we found that out after the documentary. We were still uncovering stuff. I think the documentary should have progressed into more longer time than what we did, but maybe we can't really do a part 2. But anyway, that's what happened. But if you guys haven't seen the documentary, again, check that out. The Hanging of Elizabeth Reid, A Ghost Story by Joe Terre. It's on Amazon Prime. Karen's saying to a documentary about Pine Lawn Manor. And that is definitely something I'm going to contact Joe about, maybe doing a full documentary, a serious documentary regarding Pine Lawn Manor, because it definitely needs to be documented. Because people need to see this. The world needs to see this location. But I'm afraid to reveal it to the world in a way, too, because I don't want everybody in the world coming and messing it up either, because it's like, I'm not sure how long this activity will continue at Pine Lawn Manor, if it will be a lifelong thing, or if, it'll quit next or tomorrow. You don't know with paranormal activity. That's why it's paranormal activity. We may not get anything the next time we go there, and that may be it. So that's why we're really enjoying and documenting, every event that takes place there. I mean, you guys see us there a lot. You probably get bored with it, but it's amazing. But the hunt for Reid, that's what we just got done talking about. Okay, number 41, we're getting into, and again, I've got 52 places, guys, and we're at 41. So we're getting there. But number 41, I want to talk about Mcpike Mansion on October 24th, 2020. I'm sure you guys all know the Mcpike Mansion deal we were involved in. It was horrible. But yeah, it was the ghostly Halloween camp out. Sharon had actually invited us there to help with that. She asked if we could come help. I said we could because we talked with her during a previous investigation, told her we would help her if she needed any help. She was complaining that, this was probably going to be her last year. Her health, wasn't the greatest. And she's just, I don't remember how many she'd done it, 25, 26 years, I think, on that thing. But we told her we'd help her out because she didn't have a lot of help. And the person who usually does camera stuff there had, I believe, passed away, unfortunately, or something. And but we went there to help her out, and do a, an investigation there, an event. And I advertised the event. I got a lot of people from my area there, helped her just all kinds of ways, advertisement, investigating. And we didn't ask for a dime out of it. We didn't get a dime out of it. And we didn't, she didn't pay us, and we didn't get any of the event proceeds. So, we're there on our own free will and accord, just to help out and be good paranormal investigators. And that's what we did. Unfortunately, we're too good at paranormal investigators for Mcpike Mansion because what happened during the course of the event, and you guys were there, right?
Yes, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Ed and Amanda can both verify this. We heard what sounded like knocks coming on the door of the cellar area in Mcpike Mansion in Alton, Illinois, is where we're talking about, guys. Famous mansion. It's been on every ghost show, Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters. Apparently they didn't catch her, but we did. But there was stomping, sounds and like knocking sounds coming from the door. And we thought, man, this is crazy. We caught it on the film or on our video. We had the whole place rigged down there. We had video cameras, IR cameras. So we went back, looked at the video footage, and nobody came downstairs to knock on that door. So we knew, we've got something weird here. Problem is, my cameras kept getting moved around upstairs. I put my cameras upstairs, and a couple individuals, I'm not going to mention their name 100 times, but that she would go upstairs and move my camera. My cameras got moved on a couple occasions upstairs. I had it covered, but the back door, the back side of the house, I couldn't get covered with the camera system. So we look at the video footage, nothing there. Nobody coming in the basement to knock on the door. We think it's legitimate paranormal activity we picked up. Come to find out, later on down the road, the next day, we get messages from people. To back the story up a little bit, we were involved in a psychic show. I'm just going to call it a psychic show.
Fiasco.
Huh?
A fiasco.
A psychic fiasco circus shit show. To put it nicely, inside the cellar area where they brought the public down there, and they were telling people there was ghosts all around them. The psychic calls on the phone, tells them that there's the ghosts of all the Mcpike family sitting around him, and they're talking to him. And heck, their cat came in, their dogs came in during the event. We had the whole Mcpike family in there with us, including their pets, their animals, and I think a couple of goldfish. But that's pretty much the extent of it, guys. Like, for real. It was completely fake, and they were hoaxing the public, and that's one thing we don't put up with here at the Crawford County Ghost Hunters. I don't care who you are, how big your name is, or what show you're running. If you're faking stuff and we find it, we're going to debunk it, and we're going to tell the public. Because I don't care if you have a cult-like following, or if you've been doing this for 25 years, 26 years, and nobody's ever caught you. If you fake something in front of us, we're going to let the public know. And that's what happened. We got out of there. We told the public, this was hoaxing. That psychic was not legit. Psychics can't be used for paranormal evidence anyway, because, they can't give you evidence of paranormal occurrences. I'm not saying psychics aren't real. Some people have psychic abilities. I'm just saying psychics cannot be used to document and record paranormal activity, because it's like me saying your dead grandma's sitting over there. I cannot prove that without video evidence, audio evidence, or something proving, that we're getting this stuff. But anyway, the whole Mcpike family showed up according to this psychic. We got out of there, revealed that as a hoax pretty much. I also believe the graves in the backyard to be a hoax. Sharon claims she has the tombstones in her garage, she told me, which is highly illegal. If she has those tombstones in her garage, then that's illegal. I asked her where these crypts and where all the graves are at in the backyard that are supposed to be there. The crypt that they say is a crypt is a bench. It's a mourning bench. It's not a crypt. It's not, I don't know. If there's burials there, I'd like to see ground penetrating radar on that too, to verify it. But anyway, during the investigation, going back into the knocks we hear on the cellar door, we thought it was weird. We didn't get anything on our videos indicating it was hoaxing or fakery. But the next day, we got multiple messages from people there saying Sharon was laughing and saying that she faked it all because we debunked her psychic event in the cellar area, and she faked it to get back at us and to keep the reputation of the mansion alive. So Sharon LeDuc basically faked the stomps above us to make us think they were knocks on the door. And guys, she has done this before, because the place she stomped at in that house, it makes that door echo down there and sounds like the door is being knocked on. And that's what people have reported hearing for years. And so she gets caught pretty much red-handed. I confront her about it. She admits to it. She says, yes, I was mad at you guys. She said she basically threw a temper tantrum because we debunked her psychic event in the cellar, and she faked activity to get back at us. So that's what happened at Mcpike Mansion. We caught them hoaxing things. We caught her faking things and admitting to faking things. She said, oh, I didn't knock, I stomped. Okay, well, you stomped. That's the same thing. You're faking something. And long story short, we will never return to Mcpike Mansion. We will never help Mcpike Mansion as long as Sharon is the current owner of it. If it changes hands in the future, we will definitely help with it, because unfortunately it's the staff and the owner that is bad there, not the mansion itself. It's the mansion's probably legitimately haunted, because on our first investigation, which I talked about, very first investigation we done of the year there, we caught evidence of paranormal activity. That's why I don't understand why she wants to fake things. But we did catch evidence, and we put an evidence video up that we caught evidence. And she legitimately said after this event where we caught her faking, she didn't want the reputation of the mansion ruined, so she faked it. Well, that's ruining the reputation of the mansion right there. So, but I got to get off this subject because I get fired up every time I talk about it. So that's the Mcpike Mansion incident, and we will never be back unless it changes owners. And don't go there if you're a paranormal team, because you don't know what's legit and what isn't. Number 42. That is October 27th. We were called into a demonic possession in Robinson, Illinois. So I got called about a lady growling, screaming. I have her voice recorded on the phone. We posted sound clips of it. She legitimately was growling. I thought, man, this is the closest thing I've ever heard of demonic possession, even though I don't believe in demons. I don't believe in demonic possession. I've seen no evidence of demons or demonic possession in the 25 years I've been doing this. And I've been trying to investigate every evil and demonic case I can find. Not once have I found anything. Same thing in this case. We ran her through a series of tests. Come to find out, she had some prior mental illnesses, which, and that's what it usually is, unfortunately. And I wrote a big article about this, and paranormal investigators need to be extremely careful with this. Be careful investigating cases of so-called demonic possession, because 99.9% of the time, I would say 100% of the time, it's a mental illness causing the situation, and you've got to look at that and help that person, tell them to get medical professional help, not a ghost hunter. That's the unfortunate, side of the demonic stuff in paranormal research. Everybody thinks this is all demonic and evil, and it's not. A lot of this stuff is people's mental illnesses, and it has to be addressed and taken care of, So we try not to investigate, demonic stuff unless, some of them, it's we're still open to the possibility. That's why we go, but all the time it's mental illness. Or something happening. She was also drunk, projectile vomiting in the front yard, which I didn't put out to the public until now. But there's a lot of stuff involved in her demonic possession that was not demonic. But anyway, moving on. Let's see where I'm at here. Okay. Then we have another event, number 43, which we get called to in Effingham, Illinois, another demonic-like activity. And I think you guys went on that, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. We get called to a house where a lady had been found in the garage, cut up, and they didn't know why. She had cuts all over. This lady was breaking religious figurines, like she was breaking Jesus statues and angel heads off. She would literally rip them off of the statues, and she was wanting to kill herself. They'd found a rope, I believe, in her backyard. She'd wrote messages to her family. Again, they call us in, and some of this I think is a last resort for some families. Unfortunately, they're scared because a family member is acting like this, and they don't realize they actually need mental help. And again, I believe this individual needed mental help. It wasn't anything ghostly or paranormal or demonic or evil. It was just a mental illness that needed addressed, and the families sometimes need to just realize that. Sometimes they'll call us in when they should be calling, a doctor. But, they want to think it's something else going on. So they want to, almost want it to be a ghost instead of their family member having these problems. And, I've had a family member in the past too, with mental, illnesses that I've seen go through things like this. And that's why I know, firsthand, mental illness can be crazy, and people can think, stuff's going on and it's not. And the family doesn't want to deal with it. So, unfortunately, that's where a lot of our demonic possessions and demonic cases, that's how they end up. It's all mental illness. And I've put warning out to other paranormal investigators regarding this. If you have a demonic case, it's probably not demonic. You better tell them to seek professional medical help. So that's where we're at on the demonic stuff. Number 44 is the Halloween event at Pylon Manor. We did our Halloween investigation there. Had some crazy stuff happen on Halloween. I think we had 26 objects thrown that night.
I do believe it was 26.
Yeah. I think it was 26 objects we got thrown over the course of that night. So that was a really cool investigation on Halloween night, Pylon Manor. And it was a full moon, guys. You just don't get any better than that. Full moon on Halloween and Pylon. There's no other place I'd rather been that night, just really cool.
Right? Weird.
What's that?
We were full that night as far as public. We had 30 people.
I think so. Yeah.
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 Yeah, and Amanda's. They're saying you look tired, Amanda. Yeah, Amanda, like sometimes she goes there and goes to work the next morning. I don't know how she does it, but and Ed, I guess we all do, I guess. But Amanda's been doing a great job leading the history tours there on our haunted tours. So I mean, I give her credit for that. She does a good job. She used to work there, so she knows a lot more about it than I do as far as what used to happen there. And I think that's cool and why some of them are, connecting with her at Pine Lawn, maybe they even remember her. So.
Oh, I definitely think
so. You think they do?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, moving on from the Halloween one. And we also had great tours. We had like awesome tours in Halloween too. We did our Crawford County tour. We'd only done one of those. We done like a couple Pine Lawn tours. We done a Miriam, Indiana haunted tour last year. 2020 is what I'm talking about here. Recapping. If you guys are just tuning in, we're recapping all of our investigations and events from 2020 that were really cool. We did a Masonic Lodge overnight, the haunted Masonic Lodge there in Lawrenceville. We did an overnight event there, a couple of them. So we've done a lot of stuff this year, guys. I mean, I don't even know how we're going to be able to top it this year, but we're going to try. We're going to start next weekend, so get ready. But that's the funny thing too about a lot of these ghost groups. They like hang their hat up after October 31st. It's like, oh, I'm breaking for rest of the year, until like it comes back around to September, October, and they start ghost hunting again. We go all year round. We're doing this almost like every day of the week. I mean, we don't take a break, guys, for anything hardly. We don't hang our hat up after Halloween. We keep going. Like that's why I'm still talking about events that just happened. We're still ghost hunting. We went the other night. We went already this year. So, but anyway, the next one, number 45, was the death train investigation. What was you gonna say?
New Year's Day.
The very first day.
Oh, we went the very first day?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did an investigation day 1 of 2021. So I was bringing in the new year. But number 45 of 2020, number 45 on my list anyway, my top 50. It wasn't, we done like 297, I think, something. I gotta look at my card, but we called it the death train investigation on November the I thought you said something.
Nope.
You guys didn't say anything? Oh, that's weird. I thought I heard something come over the mic. Anybody else hear that out there? I think we got ghosts at Ed or Amanda's, wherever they're at. But it was the death train investigation we did, and supposedly this train. Do you remember the name of that town?
No, I do not.
Gosh, I don't either.
Edgewood.
That's it. Yes, that was in Edgewood, Illinois. There was a house that called us in. They were having strange experiences in there. A train wreck had actually taken place and killed a family. And the train continued on and killed another individual the same night. We were going to investigate the train track location, but it stormed like crazy that night. I mean, just like crazy. So we didn't get to do our outdoor investigation. So we had to investigate the house that they called us into, where they'd been experiencing a lot of strange activity, kids, knocks on the windows, rattling. I'm not saying this place couldn't be haunted. It's an old house. It had potential neat old house, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was real. The windows was loose, and there was a lot of the noises.
Yeah, exactly. We every time a train, we noticed within the first 10 minutes of trains going through, every time a train would go by, the windows would shake, they would rattle, the house would shake, doors would even move. Like we had a door closed, which I'm pretty sure is caused by vibration from the nearby train going by. A lot of stuff, we debunked right off the bat. There was a muddy footprint upstairs. They said it appeared mysteriously. I measured the foot of one of the kids in the family. It measured exactly out to the mysterious muddy footprint that appeared mysteriously upstairs. There was blood supposedly on the wall. We took UV lights to that. Pretty much debunked about everything there. really quick, but I'm not saying the place wasn't haunted. They kind of got mad at us because we debunked it so quick, but I just call it like I see it, if a footprint matches up to the same size exactly, width and length of your child, and he's running around barefooted all the time, it's probably your child. Windows rattling, that definitely was a train. We witnessed it. So everything that they reported, we debunked all the pictures they sent. They'd sent pictures that said it was a kid in the background. It was actually pareidolia. It was like an object in the background kind of looking like a kid. And if you look, it was just part of a dresser in the background with something red hanging over it. People do that all the time. They send us pictures and they think there's images in them, and like 9 times out of 10 there's not. That's why we don't accept any pictures or photographs taken into reflective surfaces. We automatically throw out reflective surfaces due to reflection and pareidolia and all kinds of stuff we don't want to deal with. So, but anyway, we pretty much debunked that place. Didn't find any activity anyway at that location. Not saying there's not, but during our investigation there, we didn't encounter any. See where we're at here. We done Pine Lawn again on number 46, November 30th. Number 47th was Pine Lawn on December 1st. Pine Lawn on December 5th and 6th for number 48. Then we get to number 50, which was the Effingham Brew Company. And that was on December 15th of 20 when we did was that the live feed we done there? I think. Because we investigated 2 times, but we went live on the second one. But I believe that was December 15th of 2020. We did the Effing Brewery in Effingham, Illinois. We investigated that location. They'd had reports of a lot of activity in there, smelling something strange. And they would see what looked like, and I have to say that I try not to laugh when I say this, but black colored orbs or balls flying through the air. I'm sorry. But anyway, I'm not laughing at their activity. I'm just laughing at that because I can't say that without laughing, guys. I'm sorry. But yeah, they would see black objects, let's put it that way, flying through the air, which they described as circular, moving through the air in the building. We never encountered any of that. We didn't see any of that on our first investigation there. But when we went live, I was wondering if there was any activity there at all, but we went live on our second investigation. And I'll tell you what, I was down in the basement area of the Effing Brew Company. We heard what sounded like a male voice. Every time I'd ask, I'd say, "Hey, can you communicate?" Were you still there at that time, Amanda, when that happened? Or had you left?
No, I didn't hear the male voice, but I did hear the growling a lot.
You heard the growls?
Yes.
Yeah, that was in the basement too, right?
That was the first thing that we kept hearing was just, I'm like, what the heck?
Right. Yeah, there were growling sounds in the basement area, which was really, really weird. Hold on. Dinner Holland said wasn't the closet questionable. Oh, yeah. Going back to that, she's talking about going back to the Edgewood house. I think is what she's talking about. There was a closet incident where I got a name on the ghost box, which corresponded with one of the names that somebody gave me, which, yeah, that was questionable. I forgot about that. So, yeah, that could have been legitimate activity there. But going back to, sorry, I was answering questions here. But going back to our investigation at Effing Brew, yeah, Katie said tapping on the kegs as well. We heard tapping. But the male voice was the craziest thing. We captured an EVP of a female on our first investigation there. That's the only thing we got. Didn't hear anything, didn't see anything. On our second one, though, we heard kind of strange knocks on the kegs. We heard, we got 2 incidents on the video camera system of like something going across, like some type of white object going across. We tried to debunk it. We even went downstairs to see which way the air current was flowing. And Katie, one of my team members, she's talking on it right now. They blew vape in front of the cameras so we could see which way it was going, to see which way the air current was carrying, because we got a big air disturbance of like stuff coming from a weird direction on our cameras. Wasn't orbs, but it was dust being kicked up by something, but there was no air vents there. So we tried to recreate it. after that, we got a strange white anomaly we couldn't explain. And in the far room with the kegs, we got something black shoot across the room, which would correspond with the black things that they, it wasn't circular, but it was a black mass that went across one of the far rooms. Plus, we heard a male voice. And we tried, if you guys watch that video at the effing brewery, we tried to debunk that voice. I sent Dickerson outside, and he was yelling so hard, I think he about got arrested. So, he was worried about the cops coming because I sent him outside the brewery, and he was going down the street yelling, screaming to see if it happened to be a guy going down the street that we could hear. And we could not hear it down there. So we still have no explanation for our second investigation at the effing brewery regarding 2 incidents captured on IR camera and sounds that we audibly heard with our own ears. Several times a male, talking. He would communicate and talk back to me. I would hear him talking. We tried to debunk it, and we couldn't. So, effing brewery, we've been talking with them guys, and we are, they're supposed to get back with me here soon. We're going to do a public event there here in 2021. It's going to be a public event open, to the public. I think they're going to charge tickets, and it's going to be like a meal and a ghost hunt. So we're going to you guys are going to get a good meal because they've got good food there. Definitely go try it over there at the effing brew in Effingham, Illinois. But we're going to sell tickets to that event. I don't know how much they're going to charge. It's probably going to be out of our hands on the price, guys, because they're making a big meal for this. And it's going to be an investigation or a meal and then an investigation. So it's going to be really neat. Keep, looking forward to our page for that event coming up in 2021 here. Then number 51 was the solstice event at Pine Lawn. The winter solstice, we went there and tried to communicate with the ghosts and spirits on the winter solstice. That's the day when the veil is supposed to be the thinnest. We have the longest hours of darkness, or we have the longest night that night, so we try to communicate. It's a big pagan and holiday. It's kind of what formed the original Halloween sort of, but we tried to see if there was any type of, activity that could be spiked by, the solstice and the just the time of year. And we got a lot of activity that night. We got stuff thrown at us. I mean, just stuff went crazy. I can't remember which night was which, but you remember what all happened? Huh?
My chair that night.
Go ahead, Ed. Tell them what happened.
Well, it was sitting in front of the nurse's station, and it kept getting pulled backwards. Ended up with my chair.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on because Ed kept cussing over there, and I'm like, "What is wrong with you?" And he ended up throwing his chair back into the nurse's station because I guess the ghost wanted it more than what he did, didn't it?
Oh, they wanted it evidently because they kept yanking on it.
But yeah, we've heard a lot of strange things there at Pine Lawn. Question: what does it mean when you hear growls? Is demons, or do you consider it to be 90% of the time when we hear growls? To answer your question, it's stomachs. It's stomachs growling, and sometimes the individual themselves aren't even aware of the growling because it's almost like you get into infrasound even with some stomach growls, and you aren't aware that your own stomach's growling. Or someone else's, and that's 90% of growls heard on Paranormal Investigations, guys. I guarantee you. And stomach growls sound like demons on recorders, don't they, guys?
Yes. They do.
I mean, it will sound like a guy going, like it's bad. But we debunked most growls. I mean, but the growls there at the brewery, everybody at court said their stomach wasn't growling. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of growls. I mean, very seldom have I seen a legitimate growl take place. Usually it's an animal in a wall. That can cause it too. You get animals that growl. Possums sound like demons. I've sat on stumps even out in the woods, and I thought I was getting killed one day because a possum started growling at me. You do not want to sit on a possum stump because they will come up out of their growling. Usually they run away. This one growled at me, so I know what a possum sounds like growling. It sounds demonic. But a lot of animals will sound like that, just to answer your question. Grab my legs. Yeah, I've had my pant legs grabbed in there they're talking about. It done like it hit me in Trish's legs and dropped a ball on us one night. I've been touched. Like, it's nothing to feel like something go like this across your face. You know, like somebody touching your face. I'm like, I go into the event the other night. Or should I?
Oh, I think you should.
Why not?
Yes.
Okay. I'll talk about it. Let me get to the Christmas part, and then we'll get back to that. Because this is like, that's our New Year's investigation, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get into that here in a minute. That'll probably end it for tonight after we do that. But number 52 is a Christmas at Pine Lawn, where I was sick. That was our public event. I don't know if I had COVID. I didn't get tested, but I wanted to stay away from everybody in case I did, because I was really sick. I didn't want to get everybody sick, and especially the public. So I didn't attend that event, and I left Jason Dickerson and Ed, Reese there in charge, and Amanda. I think you did the history part and stuff, right? The tours. Yeah, you know, so pretty much Ed, Amanda, and Dickerson ran the show that night, and I can't thank them enough for that, you know, because I was out. So, but I was watching from home. A lot of crazy stuff happened that night, which shouldn't have happened and did happen, which led us into, and I'm going to talk about it on the air so people know, it led us into getting rid of one of my team members that had just started pretty much. I'm not really going to get into the details of it, but I have removed Luke Massey from my team that just joined recently. Was doing a lot of my filming real quick. So unfortunately, there were several events that led up to that. It wasn't just what happened that night. Some other things that happened too, but we just couldn't put up with anymore. But anyway, we had a video footage that night, and Luke pretty much, I might have thought about it, thought Amanda was like faking stuff. And we went back on the video, and Amanda doesn't even move in the video when this marble is thrown. I know we aren't faking this because we've seen, you know, we've been in there, we've all been in there, and we've seen it come out of walls, we've seen it come out of empty rooms, you know, we've seen it come at us, you know, he just kept trying to, you know, say something was going on like that. And come to find out, I went back and watched the video, and if anybody faked anything, it was him, because I seen an arm move and go up in our video, and a marble fell. And, you know, this was on our public event, on our Christmas event. I was not there personally, but I went back and looked at it, you know, looked at the video footage, and it was enough for me to remove him from the team, and due to some other things that took place. So that's what happened there. A good guy. I like Luke. I mean, he's a nice guy. You know, I'm not bashing him on here, but I've removed best friends off my team before. I've had a best friend that I kicked off my team because he threw a penny in a house one night and made it sound like it was rolling down the hallway, and I caught him. He was gone. You know, it wasn't a Pine Lawn. This was over in a stagecoach house over on Route 1. You know, if I catch somebody faking something, they're removed from my team permanently. You know, so it was nothing personal, but, you know, I like Luke as an individual. It just was a team call there that I had to get rid of him, but that's what's going on with that, guys. But and some other events, but I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, that was the Pine Lawn Christmas event, and things happened there. You know, you guys had a golf ball fly, I guess. First time that's ever happened.
Never had that.
No.
Nope.
Yeah, that's the first golf ball, but I've asked for a golf ball and it never will do it. And then I'm homesick and we get a golf ball. But then you guys ask it to.
True. Yeah, a few pennies came out of there's
the
even it wasn't an American penny. There was one that was in front of the kitchen that was, I don't even know, Dutch maybe. You have to ask Jay Greentree on that one.
Yeah.
Because it was not an American penny that was in front of that. So that was weird.
Yeah. Karen, on that marble, she's asking if the marble wasn't real. We don't know on that one. We know 100% every other object thrown in there has been real. You know, because Luke is not there with us all the time. We're there by ourselves at times. This stuff happens. You know, we've got public people having it happen to them when we're on the other side of the building. This stuff is real. The marble, I had to question, though, you know, did he do it just because nothing was going on? It was a public event. Was he just trying to make something? I don't know. He's only been on my team for like, not very long at all. Few months, if that, a couple months. But it wasn't necessarily due to that. I mean, even if we blow the video up and we see it's not his arm, I mean, something moved. We don't know. We can't say 100% sure he threw it, but his arm made a movement as right before it happened. And it was enough for me to question it. But the other things that took place that I'm not going to mention on live feed is why we got rid of him, not due to him 100% faking evidence. Let me rephrase that. So, was the person you removed there each time a coin? No, that's what I just said, Debbie. That was not. I promise you, all these other events, and that's what's bad. Because, we see this one time where he moves and makes a gesture where it could have been, and I still don't think he threw it. I think it was probably due to the nature of the place. It was actually paranormal because, everything in there has been unexplainable. I mean, we've watched it come out of empty hallways. We've watched it come out of empty rooms. We've had it come toward us out of an empty hallway, not away from us. This is real activity, it's unexplainable, and that's why it gets me. And it's like, if I have somebody that even looks like they're faking it, I'm getting rid of it. That's why we're so hardcore in this, that, we take that approach, unfortunately. But going back into the pylon thing, what were you talking about? Did you guys have anything else? What was it?
The very first investigation.
Oh, yeah, the first investigation here at Pylon. We've done another one already this year there at Pylon. That's what Ed and Amanda were laughing about the other night. But we did some experiments in there. I'm not going to mention what some of our experiments were. But sometimes we do things we don't reveal to the public. I saw this guy run past, it was hauling, running. That was the first weird thing I seen in there the other night on the New Year's investigation we done. And the second thing that happened, I was sitting in group 3 hallway, and this is no joke, guys, and I'm hoping it was a finger. But something went into my mouth, and it felt like something poked me in the mouth. I started spitting in the hallway. It literally felt like when somebody takes their finger and jabs it in your mouth. That's what it felt like. And I've never had that happen in there. We had a guy hit on one of our tours that had to be taken out by ambulance during one of our Pylon tour events, if that was legit and the guy was telling the truth. I'm not him. I don't feel what he feels, so I can't judge really. The guy's, I can't judge that. But I got poked in the mouth, I'll tell you that. And I didn't like it. And I started spitting, and but that's what they're laughing about. But yeah,
the recording of it is amazing on my recorder.
Oh yeah, you were recording when it happened, weren't you?
Oh.
Yeah. That's gonna be one of those recordings we only play behind closed doors. But yeah, that happens a lot. We can't play a lot of our stuff to the public, but yeah, I hope it was a finger anyway. If not, I'm definitely not going back. But you never know what's going to happen in Pine Lawn Manor. But it's still the most haunted place I've ever seen in my life, guys. I mean, we're still going to continue to investigate it. We can't debunk it. And I don't even think I told about the recent penny event. That was that was the solstice, wasn't it? The penny with the number 14.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Yep.
That was the solstice, wasn't it? Yeah, so that'd been on the 21st of December. Now, I'm probably going to end it with this, guys. This is my last thing to talk about, but on the 21st of December, we investigated Pine Lawn on the solstice, and we had numbered pennies out in the Sumner Cemetery where a lot of these individuals are buried that died at Pine Lawn, and they can't afford, a lot of their families couldn't afford a burial, or maybe their families just wasn't there anymore, or wasn't around. But when they passed away, they bury them with little markers out in the Sumner Cemetery. And what is it, 20, how many, Amanda?
22, I want to say.
22.
Is it 22?
I think.
Yeah, something like that. 22, let's say there's 22 burials out there, but we went out and numbered each one of them, put a penny on their graves with numbers on them. And at first we didn't tell anybody, we did say on the live feed, can you, give us a penny with the number that's out there in the cemetery, and that's the only time the public really knew about it. The time we announced that, from the time this happened, there's no way anybody, because we went back and looked at it and it happened within a minute. There's no way anybody could have went out to the cemetery after they heard us announce that we were trying this experiment, got one, snuck in Pine Lawn, and put it on the piano where we found this. We've ended up finding a number 14 penny on the piano in Pine Lawn. And the weird thing about this is, guys, I was just joking before this happens. I was joking with BB, and her name is Beatrice June. She passed away in Pine Lawn. And I said, if you need a ride out to the cemetery, I said, I can actually take you in my vehicle and show you where it's at so you can go get us one of them pennies, because I really want a penny from out there. And I'll be danged if we didn't go back, and we didn't know what numbers they were. And Dickerson had them wrote down too, just in case they went missing off the stones. He sent us his list, because he wasn't there that night, I don't think. He sent us a list of what he had wrote down, and we sent somebody to the cemetery. And I'll be dang if it wasn't that number 14 penny off of BB's grave, Beatrice June, the one I asked to take out there. So the chance of all that corresponding within 2 minutes, somebody hearing us on the live feed, because I tried to debunk it. The weird thing was, there was a car that drove around Pine Lawn real slow. Turned out they were fans, wanting to see us, wanting to see us filming and wanting to talk to us because their kids were fans of us. But still in the back of my mind, I'm like, did somebody sneak in? We tried to experiment and tried to send people sneaking in, see if it could be done. It could be done. Can't be now because we fixed that problem. We lock ourselves in now. I mean, we usually went in through the front door, and that's how we'd access the building. But now we completely lock ourselves in. Nobody can get in that building while we're in. It's like, I was joking around that first time we did it and said we were Ghost Adventures. We're locking ourselves in, but we're doing it just to keep people out. But I still, I do not believe anybody had time to do that. But the number 14 penny showed up on the piano from the cemetery. It was missing off the tombstone in the cemetery and was in Pine Lawn. I mean, that is just one of the craziest paranormal things I've ever seen, especially verification. They can see, they can hear, they're intelligent, they can transport objects from one place to another. That's what Pine Lawn has taught us through all these investigations, Debbie says, I've watched most of it, not all Pine Lawn lives, and have been intrigued and fascinated. Glad to hear that the investigations as a whole have not been compromised. Yeah. And that's why Debbie, that's why we're not compromised. We don't want these investigations to be compromised. If we got somebody we even think moves an arm or something, I mean, I'm not going to immediately just kick a team member off. There was other reasons I removed him, but yeah, we're going to do our best to show that this stuff is legit, because it is, it's actual paranormal activity that's taking place. We've even gone to the extent, we all empty our pockets when we go in, and we're showing people, the public members, we have nothing in our pockets. I don't know if you guys did it because I wasn't there. And if you didn't, I don't blame you. But on the Christmas event, everybody should have been checked to see if anything was in their pockets coming in or out. And our pockets shown. I mean, I don't know what you guys did because I wasn't there, but on any previous or future events, that is definitely going to be done. And it's been done on a lot of our investigations, to show people that nothing's being carried in on anybody. This stuff's coming from nowhere. Yeah, Dedra, I think that's how you pronounce your name. Sorry if I'm wrong there, but says they're more intelligent than anyone ever gave them credit for. And that is exactly the truth. When I first started investigating, I thought, they weren't coming across any of our equipment, and they still don't. They're physical. But I thought, since they can't interact with a lot of our equipment, that they kept their same mind state as they were, when they were there. And I think I'm highly wrong on that. And it comes, that even brings me to the theory that people like that, are they like highly intelligent and can't express themselves? Like that, are they so intelligent they can't even, express themselves in the right way? And then when they pass away, they're super intelligent beings, because like the individuals we're dealing with at Pine Lawn, if it's the ones who passed away there, they are super intelligent beyond anything we have ever experienced. I mean, they, like I say, they remember names. They remember when you've been there. They know who I am because Luke asked him to throw a coin at me down the hallway.
Yeah.
You remember that? And I actually got a coin thrown at me, guys, when he said that. And I was on the other side of the building. He's like, throw a coin at Snyder. And a dime hit me, like landed on the ground, like beside me. And I didn't even know he had said that. I was in a different part of the building. And I came running, like yelling, huh?
Right there by the lunchroom when that happened.
Yeah, yeah. And I came running down the hallway, and he goes, they must have did it. And they did. So they know who you are. They remember who you are. They can transport objects from one place to another. Where they're getting them, I don't know. It's just highly intelligent activity. That's our conclusion to Pylon. We're still learning, and it's teaching us so much stuff about the spirit world. It's not even funny. I mean, it's so crazy, the stuff we've learned. I mean, there was things I doubted, I've been doing this for 25 years and you get burnt out on it. You start to think, is there a reason why I'm doing this? Are ghosts real? I've debunked so much stuff. It's like, is the stuff I've experienced in the past explainable? Is it even ghosts? And after Pylon Manor, it's ghosts. There are ghosts. There is an afterlife. There is another dimension other than our own. These things are highly intelligent. They see you. They hear what you're saying. So yes, it's taught us with proof, absolute proof, that there's an afterlife and that these things are real. Go ahead, Amanda.
I think with Pylon too, and I know I'm fairly new, but they do all kinds of sensory stuff, like taste and smell. Like you smell stuff all the time, and the poking and the loud noises that we go look for and never find.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think Pylon's for sure haunted. Just a different haunt. I'm thinking I've only been on the hear your guys' story.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little again. I don't know. At least you are on my end. I don't know if they can hear you out there. Can you guys hear Amanda all right out there? Give me a thumbs up if you can. I caught what you were saying, but it was broken. But yeah, what do you think, Ed? What's your opinion on Pylon?
Well, they could be doing experiments on us, seeing how around.
That's
true, because we do.
It would be like the sensory rooms that they had over there when they was there. Basically, they're doing the same thing to us.
Yeah.
If you stop and think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, they are saying you're breaking up, Amanda. I can hear Ed, though, pretty good. I don't know what happened with Amanda, but maybe you're just closer to the mic, Ed. I don't know. But yeah, just a crazy place. And we're going to continue to investigate it, guys. And hopefully, 2021 will be an awesome year for us again, because 2020 has just been phenomenal. The quality of our investigations in 2020 was just awesome. But I say I think we done. I gotta see how many I documented. The ones we can't show even. It's 296. We got. Can't find my card where I wrote that down, but we did a lot of investigations. A lot of stuff we couldn't get into due to COVID. We did a lot of stuff. Outdoor investigations, cemetery investigations, a lot of cool places. Gettysburg, Tennessee, Pennsylvania. We were all over the place, and we're going to continue to try to do this in 2021, especially if, we get access to more places and all these rules start getting a little better. We've got a lot of ideas, a lot of places up our sleeves. So definitely stay tuned, guys. We got a lot of trips and places we're going to investigate. Karen Cass says, Jason, you and your team do a very remarkable job on your investigations. We appreciate all that you do and the professional job that you do. Thank you for including us. Thank you, Karen. Karen's been a big supporter of us. We appreciate Karen Cat. She's helped us a lot and has supported our team. So thanks, Karen. She watches all our stuff. That means a lot to us too. And yeah, Dedra is saying the same thing. Thank you guys too, for watching. And we're going to try to bring you more, investigations in 2021, some cool places. So Aaron says it keeps us watching and wanting more. You guys are the best, Kelsey Greentree says. So, that's what we like to hear. We like to hear you guys, enjoying our investigations out there and what we do. So, we definitely try to keep it real. We're not going to sugarcoat stuff. 2019, we debunked Willow's Weep. Got into a big thing with Willow's Weep and the owner of it. I mean, unfortunately, 2020 was the Mcpike Mansion. Seems like every year we, one of the places we investigate, we find, hoaxing and fakery. So, unfortunately, that's the field we're in. We've got to prove the fake stuff from the real stuff, and that's what we do. And, we're not going to say something's, real when it's not. So we're going to continue to investigate, guys. And I'd like to thank everybody out there for watching. We're probably going to end it here in a few. You guys got anything to say, Ed and Amanda? I know there's a lot of me talking because you don't have my note cards, and you guys came on halfway through this year. So
no, we just appreciate everybody that watches and gives us support and everything. Hopefully we'll have a good year this year.
Yeah,
yep.
I'm excited for this year, and I hope we get a lot of great stuff. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it for sure.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being on here. So
thanks for having me.
Yep. I'm going to pull you guys out and end the show, and I'll see you on the next one, guys.
All right.
Good night.
Hi, guys. That was Ed, Reese, and Amanda Ralton. Two of my team members. I know I did a lot of talking there because I had to recap a lot of the stuff. Some of them they weren't on, so I apologize. They didn't get to say a lot, but definitely there for moral support and to give their opinion on Pine Lawn and some of the stuff that they witnessed. So, again, thank you guys for hanging in there, watching all of our stuff during 2020. And we're going to try to make it just as good in 2021. Happy New Year's to all of you guys also. And we'll be back live hopefully here soon on our next paranormal investigation. Just keep watching the page, and we will update you. Have a good night, everyone. Tiffany, I'm not sure when our next live is going to be. Probably this coming weekend, I would say. We're probably going to go live. So but we'll keep you updated. So we will see you all later. Have a good night, everyone.